I am
Hello.
telling you, man, we have got to get a longer theme song. I'm going to start working on that. It's not enough. I'm just, I'm flowing, I'm growing. You know what I mean? Like,
It just
I
gets
didn't
simply improved,
plan the
doesn't it?
t-shirt for that joke, by the way. Absolutely not. Would I be that good? Tell me in the comments. Am I that good? How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Nice night out.
Soaking up the rays.
Yeah.
Got this whole garden force bit going on.
Yeah, Paul and everything, mate. It's been spectacular.
Oh no, it's lovely. Nice little bit of coverage. That's
Mm.
nice. I ain't got that luxury. I'm either in or I'm out. You know what I mean? I've got no gazebo, no conservatoire, you know, no skylight. Just
Yeah.
I'm
It's
like
quite.
Katy Perry, mate. I'm either hot or I'm cold.
I'll show everyone. It's quite nice because it's oh works. Paul in the background. Good luck.
Oh, you had a birthday party recently. I remember you telling me something about that.
Oh no, it's the boys' parties next week, and we're going to Hastings. So,
Oh right, yeah. You're getting
so
that shit set up
yeah,
early. Good idea.
gives them something to do, stops the parents from going mad. So win-win.
Happy days. Talking about win-win, I don't know if there was wins. I'm assuming that some of them won, probably half of them, but it was the big old Summer Slam going on.
Oh mate, what a palaver!
Was it a palaver? Go on, tell me about it.
Yeah, well, so we thought we'd make it fun. Like, uh, Lola went round to Nan and Granddad's, my Nan's, so it was just me and Corey and Mum, and we were watching it, and it was, well, oh, let's make a quiz. Let's see who can call the matches and see how the matches go. And I thought, yeah, I'm good. I'm good at this. And like, I know something's gonna happen tonight. Something's gonna like. I'm just gonna call these matches. I called the first match of who is gonna start SummerSlam, and it just all went to shit from there.
Did they not even announce like what the lineup of matches is going to be?
Yeah, but they don't tell you what order they're going to be, and they just show you like these are the matches that there are. Like, but you're going to have to wait and see what the actual order is, which I like because it's it's boring if you're going to find out everything and you're just like, yep, this match next, this match next, this match next. If you go
Yeah.
there expecting every fucking thing, then what's the surprise to it? It's not really.
I guess if you're like following it enough and you sort of know like what storylines are like taking off and what's hotter and whatever, you could probably have a good guess at like what order they're going to want to put things in, what they're going to want to have as like the headliner or whatever. So how did you
Yeah.
do on the quiz?
Oh, I got
Did you call it?
no, I got two matches right out of seven.
7 matches. How long
Yeah.
was the event?
Uh, 4 hours, 4 or so hours.
4 hours.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. That's not bad.
Mm.
But presumably it was late though for you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The yeah, what happened at the end? Like we both, me and Corey got like we were both still up, and we were just waiting for the end match because me and like, obviously me and boy are Cody Rhodes fans, and at the end of the match, it was, like he won, and it's just he went mad, I went mad, and then we both got told off for being too fucking loud.
Oh man, I've been there. When I used to watch the movie trivia Schmodown, they was
Mm.
always long and late for like the big events and stuff. They'd be like, I think the last big event they did was like 8 or 9 hours or something, and I
Mm.
was up like pacing the kitchen, you know, beers, and it's not even like I'm getting excited with anyone else. It's just me,
Yeah.
and yeah,
But hey, you're still
and like
excited.
when you got people that you hate, people that you love, it it's hard on the heart and the throat at the same time. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah, it's just it's just in the manner of everything happened. Everyone thought I was like everyone. apart from LA Knight, who literally fought Logan Paul. And I've got to give it to him. That motherfucker can wrestle. He can fucking wrestle.
Yeah, I
He
hear
was,
the same thing from everyone, man. People like say what you want about him personally,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
ethically, stuff that he's done or said, like either in the past or in the recent
yeah,
present. It's
yeah.
like that
Sick
dude, he
shit.
knows what he's doing when it comes to
Yeah.
that sport.
And then, yeah, LA Knight wins the um, United States Championship. And then Corey just starts crying. Like, the announcer goes off, calls LA Knight's name. He's up in the turnbuckle, like celebrating. My son's in tears on the floor.
Mate. So how into it, like as a kid, because I wasn't into anything like this as a kid. Like I wasn't allowed to stay up or pay for the pay-per-views or, you know, nothing, dry as fuck, right? But as a kid, like what's your sort of awareness of like where the sort of reality and the storyline, like does he know it's like this is kind of like these are actors, or is he just full on like Santa Claus, I'm in this, that's the
Yeah,
bad guy, fuck that
yeah.
guy?
I think he's well, he'll be 8 in a couple of days, but I'm not sure that the whole storyline thing's there just yet. But I'm sure it will be when he gets a bit older. I think he just like The Rock absolutely fucking despises The Rock. Everything
Yeah,
about him, hates him. It's like, and I keep saying to him, well, he's done his job and he's done it really well, because like he's got 2 versions of The Rock's wrestlers. And and the wrestlers, by the way, are just fucking mounding. He's going to be like close to having the whole roster and then having a copy of them fucking rosters. Like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, every time you say, "Oh, how about The Rock in a match?" Slings him, just throws the toy. Like, no, like, get out of here.
well, what about if he's like, if like you watch a movie and The Rock's in the movie, The Rock's supposed to be a good guy, does he separate, or is he just like, nah, still just fuck this
Yeah,
guy?
no, he'll bounce up and be like, "Oh, it's The Rock," and then go, "Wait a minute, fuck that guy."
Yeah, so he's
Not
just because you're
literally,
still like
but yeah,
excited to see that guy from the other thing you like in a movie.
yeah,
So there's still some sort of like hero
oh yeah,
worship, even if he is like the
oh yeah,
heel or
totally,
whatever.
yeah. He wants to see that new Santa movie that's got The Rock in, even though he obviously hates him.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that. You know, I'm not really a fan of
Yeah,
The Rock, like either like in movies or as a person. Not that we hang out much anymore or anything, but I've heard like 'cause when they first announced it, I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds like a good idea. I've heard there's been like production troubles and stuff,
oh,
and
a lot
and it
apparently.
because I think it was supposed to come out for last Christmas, and obviously that didn't happen.
Oh,
So I don't know. They're still waiting for The Rock to take a piss, I think, is why it took an extra year. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I like J.K. Simmons. He's always great. Chris Evans, he's had sort of a tumultuous sort of career
yeah.
outside of like the Marvel stuff. Like, you know, he's
Well,
had a couple of those like Netflix movies with the Russos or whatever that haven't done great.
well, I don't know if you've seen it, but he had a fucking singer of a cameo just recently.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the movie's close. It's been out for like not even 2 weeks. It's close to making $1 billion already. So I'm fairly sure everyone has seen it and knows what we're talking about. You able
Yeah,
to do me a favour, McManus? A McFavour? Fucking hell.
I'm not favor. Yes.
I didn't mean to do that. I swear to God, these are just rolling off the dome. Right. Are we able to like crank your mic up a little bit? Are you able to
Oh,
have a look at that while I set up because it's not all summer slams around here. I don't know shit about wrestling. We are going to talk about some stuff that I know.
oh, there we
Some
go. How
stuff.
about that?
Oh, that's lovely, lovely stuff. So yeah, some other stuff that I've seen and can actually have some more input on, other than like fuck that guy, fuck this guy, or whatever. But yeah, not a lot of news really. But we got double reviews coming up. We got the boys. We're a little bit late on this. We was hoping George was going to be able to join in for this, but he didn't quite make it. It's almost like asking somebody to watch 4 seasons of a TV show and 2 3-hour-long fucking director's cut movies back to back was almost a little bit too much. And he crumbled under the pressure. He fucking, like
Jesus
a
Christ,
fucking middle school craft project, he just folded, mate. He's gone.
Well, I did The Boys, but on fucking Rebel Moon, mate, I almost fucking caved in. I saw the running time for the first movie, and yep, standard. All right, better sit in for the long haul. And I got fucking comfy. I got very fucking comfy when the Spike put that on.
Yeah, I didn't even check.
Bombarded with the messages.
Didn't even check the runtime until I was like, I forgot about it. I was like, these are going to be long. These are going to be long.
I kept clicking on my screen, and it's like, this run is it broken because it's not?
Yeah, I had the same thing. Because I just quickly tapped the button, right? So I just look at the red bar or whatever, and I clicked it a couple of times. I was like, it don't look like it's moving. What's going on? Then I looked at the numbers. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I've been watching this for an hour and a half, and there's still an hour and 45 minutes left, or whatever. But we'll get into those a little bit later. We'll do that at the end, I reckon. Speaking about George, speaking about progress, he's not here again today, which is fine. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm not mad about it, right? But it's fine. I do wish he was here, though. I do wish he's here. I don't know if you're aware of this. It's fine. I don't know if you're aware of this, McManus, but I think 2 days ago, I got a little notification on Facebook Memories. 1 year ago today, our first episode. So we are a year into doing this show, everybody, and we have like 1 subscriber for every year that we've been doing this show. So it's not that bad. Again, it's fine. But do me a favor, if you are watching live or on the replay or whatever you want, if you're listening, however you want to get it, click the like, click the subscribe. If you want, go that extra mile, click the share. It all helps. Leave comments in the comment section or on the post. When you see the episode post or any other random social media post, interact. Let us know. Do you like the news? Do you like the reviews? Do you like the wrestling stuff? You just like the general banter? You like McManus's outdoor decor? Whatever it is you like or you don't like, let's get involved. Let's make the second year a year of growth. I didn't plan this, I swear.
My cup is
lovely,
awesome.
Oh yeah, man. The millennial pseudo goth chicks are gonna eat that up. They're going to be all over that. Is it Sally? Is that her name?
Jack and Sally.
Jack and Sally. Of course it is, from the fucking Blink-182 song. I should know that. Happy Days.
Do you know how old that fucking movie is? I've been watching that since I was
it's got to be 35 nearly years.
Yeah, it's got to be about that same age as me, I guess. Yeah.
No, I think probably like 32. It's like early 90s, I think. Maybe like 93, 94, I think it came out.
I remember watching this on features as a kid, and it's shitting me up. And I liked it ever since. I've always been one of them kids.
Yeah, man. I had it on... I didn't see it in the cinema. I didn't see a lot of stuff in the cinema. This film, like many films, I had on a dodgy pirate DVD... dodgy pirate video that my dad would have bought from a bloke down the pub, right? And having no clue what it was. You're just like, it's a cartoon. I think it says Disney on the box.
Have that.
Like, it's Christmassy, whatever. It was probably March, but that's fine. And it was like, yeah, you'll probably like this. And my mum's like, I don't know, that looks kind of spooky. I don't know if this is gonna vibe. And add to the fact that, yes, it is kind of spooky, but also it was a super grainy, dodgy pirate VHS copy. Man, that was not a pleasant watch for me. And I was super like, I didn't like gross things. I didn't like goop and weird textures. So when you see like a big oogie boogie bogey man and he cuts himself open and fucking bleeds maggots everywhere.
Oogie boogie man.
After singing a song, he's singing while he's doing it.
Yeah.
Fucking exposing himself and all these creepy crawly cockroach organs or whatever he's got going on. Mate,
you wouldn't believe how many people that the Oogie Boogie Man still gives the shits. Like that really does fucking people's heads in. And like, I think it's fucking awesome. It's a potato sack sewn together.
Yeah, I mean,
with a black
you would assume he'd be the creepiest thing about it, but I tell you who was creepy. Them little kids, you know, like halfway through the movie, and there's them three little kids that are following him around when he's delivering the presents or whatever. Those are some mean-looking kids. I'm like, they don't fucking deserve any presents just for being born like weird and ugly. Like, just don't even bother.
Santa,
like, skip that house.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, was not a fan. The mayor used to freak me out. I didn't like the face changing. I'm like, oh, I don't know what face I'm gonna get. Like a little bit of creep, I can deal with, right? But when you're a literal person who's two-faced and it's changing, and I don't know which version I'm gonna get on any given day, very, very telling to my adult life. Like I like to know where I stand with people. You know what I mean? I don't like this flipping around what's under the hat bullshit. Can't cope, mate. Yeah. I need to be secure.
I'm not sure what the faces were. Like, was it stress and anger?
Yeah, it's not even like there's not even like a happy one. There was just like distressed and pissed off. Yeah,
you just see him either like shitting a brick or fucking like ah.
I mean, of course he was. Look at the fucking shithole of a town he was in charge of. Like, how does it even work in Halloween Town, right? Because like everything that's good is bad and everything that's bad is good. So when you're trying to get when you're campaigning for votes or whatever to be the mayor or however it works, right? It's like, do you want to promise them like sunshine and rainbows and like low taxes and healthcare? Or is it better if you're like, no, I'm going to cut you all open and make you all bleed worms all over the floor. I'm going to make all your houses look like fucking creepy huts in the woods. And I'm going to drive the economy as high as I can get it. And they're all like, yeah.
Well, so it's obvious that fucking murder or like death works totally a different way in Halloween Town. Like,
what I mean?
Like, you could chop someone's head off. That head will grow feet. Walk down the street, kick someone else in the ass.
How are you supposed to manage the population control? You know what I mean? It's bad enough he's fighting against the immigration at the borders, and now we got people sprouting other people and waddling off down the road on spider legs and shit. Like, it's too much of a head fuck. I would love to see somebody do like a breakdown video on like the politics and the social economic structure of Halloween Town. Because I'd love to see somebody make sense of that.
Fucking done that.
Yeah, probably.
I always love the remix of or where someone's changed "What's This" into "Oh shit."
Yeah, man. I mean, that is a banger of a song.
Christmas Town in the first time, like, oh shit.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, there's a band. I know you know who this band is. I do not like this band. I'm pretty sure you don't like this band either. But Fall Out Boy do a fucking banger of a cover of that song, man. It is like the only thing they've done that I probably actually like.
Yeah, because Pete Davidson's got Pete Davidson?
Pete Wentz.
Yeah, he's got his whole...
Why do I know his name?
Busted. Yeah, it's stuck there.
It's stuck there, man. I'll tell you what. I went to college with a guy who looked exactly like him. Like how he wasn't like rolling in it, you know, because he was like our age as well. So he would have been like, you know, a teenager when they were coming out and they were super hot. Like I don't know if he was or if he wasn't, but if he wasn't, dude, what are you doing? Like,
what are you
crazy
doing with your life?
Like, if you're not taking advantage of like a the fact that you sort of look like, and I say sort of, he just looked just like him, but you know, like a B-level celebrity, then what are you doing with your life? Like, you don't even need to develop your own personality. Do you know what I mean? You can just ride the coattails of this dude into fucking sweet sexy land or whatever it is you're doing, and have a good old time. But not to get too sweet and sexy, because again, we have a comment. I didn't even get a chance to read that. I don't know if we can control how long that comes up for.
I just
Okay, no, you do not look like Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy. You're more like a I don't want to go. You know what? I feel like I'd be a gaslit into accidentally insulting somebody, and it's always so nice when we. It's always so nice when we get a comment. You know, I don't want. I don't want to do this.
You could click on it and then it would show up actually live.
That's because we don't get any comments. We don't get the opportunity to try, McManus.
No one says shit. They just duck
I
in,
think
duck
no,
out.
we do. We've had the occasional one. We're downplaying it because we're so humble and everything, and we don't want to inflate our egos, you know, by reading the tumultuous amount, the monstrosity of menagerie of comments and engagement that we're all getting. By the way, like I said up top, click those likes, click those subscribes, click the bells, you know, engage with us. And we will engage with you. If you want all these wonderful insights on the political structure of Halloween Town, this is where you come for that shit.
Which I'm pretty sure they all fucking know, because if like you should be about our age or older watching this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope they never make a sequel. Don't touch it. And I'm not usually that guy where I say like, oh, don't make a sequel. Because I think, you know what, if I like a movie, then and you want to try and make more of that movie, I'm all ears and eyes. You know, I'm willing to give it a shot. You know,
but
don't be sometimes maybe don't do it, and we'll see if they should have done that with Beetlejuice or not. That's coming out soon. I'm still not at all excited. You are aware that you disappeared, I'm assuming.
Yeah. No, I'll be right back in a second. I'm just
no worries. I'll keep us rolling. That's absolutely fine. So yeah. Happy 1 year anniversary to anyone who's been aware of us for the year that we've been doing this, and we hope the second year is the year of all the money and fame, because that certainly wasn't our opener. All right, but the only way is up, as they say, upwards, forwards, spiraling downwards into oblivion. Probably. It's absolutely fine. Mate, I miss you. I never knew how much I'd miss your face, because as soon as it's gone, I myself am like spiraling into oblivion. Do you know what I mean? I'm just trying to like tread water, staying afloat, doing my best. I need those lovely eyes and cheekbones for my confidence. It's all right, no pressure. You're handling it. I'm sure you're doing a great job. All these lovely images that you can barely see or sometimes see, that's all McManus. So yeah, I mean, you've been with us for a few months now, so maybe you'll be the key to our success in a better sophomore year. You know, like, and to give him credit, he's taken to this like a duck on water. You know, he's having a great time. I think he's sending me links right before a minute before I need them. You know, he's putting up images and getting artwork that he's downloading right 1 minute before we need them.
I've just gone on to my other computer. I have no working Wi-Fi. I can't use my big computer, and JPEGs just don't want to fucking work. Like, so it's all downhill from here. So,
mate, you're getting fucked by Sky. I know. I'm sure many are experiencing the same thing. You know,
if it's just one technician, he needs a swift kick in the nuts, or he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Because
none of them know what they're doing. They just happen to be born at a time where IT was a viable course to take at GCSE. You know, unlike us, where we're sort of just below the thing where it's like, we're not sure if that's really going to be relevant. We don't need to pay attention to that, like our English and our maths. And then like the generation like right after us, they were like, no, absolutely, this is fucking vital. This is as vital as oxygen. We need to know all of this stuff because we're going to be social media managers for corporations in 10 to 15 years. But we didn't know. We didn't know how important it was going to be. We thought Facebook was just going to be a cool thing for us teenagers. We didn't know it was going to be the, you know, the behemoth that it's become, you know, the life source from which all reels are made, that you can monetize, fucking monetize in Facebook. We never would have dreamed of it. Never would have dreamed of it. And, you know, we still only dream of it now because we ain't there yet. Again, last time, click the likes, click the subscribes. Let's make this a fantastic time for everyone involved. You watch us, we'll promise not to watch you while you're sleeping in Halloween Town or whatever it is. All right.
We'll happily take your money, your viewers, and everything you got.
We will give me your clothes, your motorcycle, and your eyeballs, please. Yeah, I don't know if George is watching. He might check this out. He might be there lurking in the chat, not commenting. Thanks for the engagement, G. But yeah, happy to be on this journey is all I'm saying. Why is it when I try and say nice things, it just gets buried under mountains of shit? Honestly, I don't do sincerity well, but I do mean it.
I did get an Instagram message from Ryan. He basically said, "Stop." I haven't seen. I invited, like, showed him the link to this. His message back: "Stop! No spoilers. I haven't seen this yet." Shh.
So that's where all the engagement's going. He's been here 3 fucking months, and all the groupies, all the fanboys, all the crazy obsessed, you know, what do we call them? The roasties, I don't know. But they're all up in his shit, and I'm missing out on everything. I'm just dying up here on a hill somewhere.
Look, it's good. It's probably because I've probably searched it on YouTube so many times, but Pop Roast is actually the second under this other Pop Roast YouTube channel that's on.
Yeah, they're not called the same thing. I think they just do like a segment.
It just comes up. Yeah,
they do. I think they do like a segment on their show that's called like a Pop Roast or something. I was actually looking on Facebook today. I think there's I think there might be a band as well with the same name, but they've got like no picture and no like things up. But somebody at some point thought about calling a band this. I don't quite feel it as a band name, to be honest. And also, to quote Heisenberg, stay out of my territory, bitch. He doesn't say that. No, honestly, share the love, share the wealth. We're all happy. Maybe it connects us in some kind of way. But man, we are rambling and bantering for nearly half an hour. We've not even got to either of our things. Luckily, there's no news. I'll tell you what I'll ask you before we start talking about The Boys season 4. So if you haven't seen all of The Boys season 4, in a couple of minutes, we're going to be going straight into it. There's going to be spoilers throughout because it's been out a little while. We're coming to that a little bit late. Like I said, we was hoping George was going to get to it. He didn't get to it. But what I was going to ask you, McManus, before we get to that, is in relation to the.
Hang on.
Go on. I am the danger. He's here. He's fucking here. I knew it. I felt his presence, like Jack Skellington himself. I felt his presence. There you go, bringing it back. I'm on fire, mate. Absolutely on fire. What are they putting in this lemonade? So what I was going to ask you, McManus, is in relation to some news we had last week. We had the big Comic-Con Marvel panel, lots of announcements, and a big reveal that a lot of people were still talking about. So now that you've had some time to think about it and soak it in, recover from the shock, do you have any more thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom? Are you excited about it? Are you nervous about it?
The man gets paid far too much money to be shit. So I'm totally excited for it. Like,
that's a really good way of looking at it, because he's getting paid far too much money.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of his. Like, the bastard made me cry when he died. Like, I didn't like Tony Stark when it all started. Like, yeah, cool, Iron Man's cool. Bit of a prick.
Bit of a prick, absolutely bit of a prick. That was on the
But
poster. You can't do that anymore.
yeah.
But in 2008, Marvel Studios presents Iron Man. Bit of a prick.
Bit of prick. But yeah, that's Tony Stark. So yeah, he and then he obviously grows on you with all these fucking quippy lines and jokes that he has because he's totally insecure as a human being and can't live without being in the suit of armor. But yeah, I think he's going to do an amazing job, and all the shit that everyone's losing their mind about because they have no idea what's going on, so they have to go on the internet, and now everyone's a fucking doom journalist, don't you know? And Iron Man and an Iron Man know-it-all.
Yeah.
I was like, did you know Doctor Doom? And it's like, here we go. Here we fucking go.
Everyone's a fucking Doctor Doom purist now. All of a sudden, absolutely.
Enlighten me, good sir.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm still. It's funny because all the stuff you said, like about what made you grow to like him as Tony Stark, a lot of that was like what would make a good Doctor Doom. You know, like insecure, needs that armor. You know, totally. Massive ego, all of that stuff. And it's like, yeah, on paper, he's the perfect. Almost perfect actor. You know, I'm not going to get into the whole race Romany heritage because I know that's a point of contention for some people, and rightly so. You know,
but I do like the point. I do like the one point about like Tony Stark is he gives like it's a couple of times I've seen this, but so many people like with his origins, it's like you can't go around and just save the world, like. And he's just, why? Why? I've got the money.
Yeah, of course he is.
We make fucking weapons for like a living. Let's make a suit out of this. It's like,
yeah. No, he's on paper, he's a pretty good fit for the role. Like you said, he's a damn good actor, Oscar-winning actor. Like, and I do think he will rise to the challenge of, like, you know, everyone thinks of you as this one thing. Now you've got to try and do something completely different to be perceived as this completely other thing or whatever. And obviously this may shock some people, but Marvel Studios do know that he was Iron Man. They are aware of that, and they've got to be like secure that they've got like a great fucking like idea, a really cool angle in which to make this work. And like, and obviously the angle, as much as some people don't want to admit it, they're like, oh well, he's just gonna be playing Doctor Doom, he's gonna be wearing the mask all the time, it's cool, he's playing a different role, he's an actor. Yes, but also no, you don't pay Robert Downey Jr. money and then not use the fact that it is Robert Downey Jr. You're gonna show his face, whether it be scarred or however they're gonna do it. And they got to play on the idea that it's the same guy. So whether that's like he is a variant of Tony Stark who just happened to have grown up in a different environment, so now he's not called Tony Stark, he is Doctor Doom, but he's like essentially like the same dude, just on a different path. There's got to be some kind of approach like that.
I want that moment where he just takes off the mask and someone shits the brick and goes, Tony. Like,
yeah, no, you've got to assume that. Yeah, you've got to assume that a moment like that he's kind of gonna play into it in some factor. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love it if we don't see his face, because Doom, we pretty much we never see his face. I would love it if he just wants to like dive into this character, wear a suit, do the movements, do a voice, you know, and really bring something cool to it in that way. But there's no way they don't use his face. That beautiful face.
This fucking, well, in the original Fantastic Four, I like Nicked Up Doom. Like, it's granted, it was like the first version of Doom I've seen. Like, we saw in cinema, but with him in the armor, that was fucking cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, he looks the part, and he had the right sort of vibe that you would want for a pre-Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom or whatever.
You're a prick.
It was just more like the sort of the approach they took to the character. Obviously the powers, they never really want to do the full Doom powers. They're just like, oh well, he's a metal dude and he shoots like lightning or beams or whatever. Like that always seems to be the thing. Obviously Marvel, they're gonna get that side of it right. I have no doubt he's gonna be like evil, dictator with magic, with technology, with doom bots and sorcery and arrogance. He can have all of that stuff. It's just a case of, are we going to be able to separate it whilst also making it, cool? And bear in mind, this is, because we've all wanted a definitive Doom, and I think that's what people are worried about. It's like, well, it's going to be hard to have this be the definitive Doom when it's also the definitive Iron Man.
I just want to see this Doom like beat the fuck out of some heavy set individual.
Oh yeah, you've got to make a splash.
And I mean, fuck them up and just leave them there. It's like, you consider your fucking actions. I'll come back and kill you later. No, fuck.
Yeah, he's got to make an absolute display out of somebody. Much like what they did with Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War. He comes in, gives it hard to the Hulk. Now, Hulk has had a rough time, like, as a character. I'm not really a fan of, like, too much Professor Hulk. Like, they've kind of really made Hulk into a joke since that point. So I hope it's not the Hulk. But he needs to come in. He needs to whoop somebody really fucking hard and let it be known this is a villain that we can... because you can't fuck with, but also you can fuck with as a cool
you can't beat up the Hulk again, because literally watching the Hulk getting beaten up is like someone coming into your house and beating the shit out of your dog. Like, it just like it was fucking heartbreaking, mate. And it is on the other hand, like, it was at me after the second one, but the first time I was watching that, my fucking jaw was on the ground. Like,
pretty crazy. He did all the pressure points. He'd like popped him one in the ribs. His arm come out of the socket. He fucking, before he even got going, he was impotent, mate. It was brutal. But I tell you what, everyone, the good thing to take from this, everyone is talking about this. Like, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So while some people might be like really not sure about this, and I think that the reaction, to be honest, has been more negative than it has been positive, which I'm surprised by. I'm sure Marvel's surprised by that as well. But like I say, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's fucking curious and intrigued, to see what they do and how it goes. But moving on, right, we are going to get into the boys, talking about villains, talking about superheroes with arrogance, playing God, fascists, all of that stuff. The Boys season 4 finished 2 weeks ago now. So we, like I say, we are a little bit late, but we wanted to talk about it because we haven't talked about it yet. It's fine. We're not on anyone's schedule. If you want us to hit a more concise, consistent schedule, then you know what to do. Click all the things, bells and whistles, all the stuff, right?
Oh, you pricks.
And then motivate us to be on time and punctual. Come on. So the Boys, McManus.
Because we're definitely not fucking punctual.
we are not punctual. I mean, we got here a minute with a minute to spare today, so that's we were pretty good. We were pretty good. We were all right.
Fault.
No, it's fine. We still hit the 8 o'clock. We absolutely hit the 8 o'clock. So season 4 starts out. Butcher's on a time limit. Like we set that up from last season. He's not a well man. Mother's Milk is running the stuff now. working more directly for, or they were at least in season 3, running more directly underneath the government. You know, most things seem to be going okay. You know, we still haven't hit the goal of, you know, taking out the big man himself or bringing down Vought, but we can't do that because there's still another season to go. So we know that's not going to happen yet. And I think this season definitely acts as like, this is definitely the and not to jump ahead to the last couple of scenes from the last episode, but this is very much turned out to be the Empire Strikes Back of the boys. Like we're delving really deep into some of these characters, really kind of, you know, picking apart some of, like, you know, because we're always delving into the psychology of like Homelander or Stormfront, or, you know, like some of the big bad soups of the Seven, and we've been riding or dying with our core group of boys and girls. All right, before you fucking come at me,
of course,
there are girls in the boys. Oh my god, this show that's been fucking hammering on politicians and society for 4 fucking seasons, it's only just gone woke, everybody. Did you not realize what you were watching? Okay, yes, it's a political show. Yes, it's taking fun at everybody. Yes, they're all pieces of shit, don't matter what side you're on.
but I do believe in season 4 the jabs got stronger.
Oh, it definitely went, yeah. Season 4 definitely goes harder, and it goes much closer. See, it works in favor of the show because, again, one of the reasons that this show does stand out from a lot of its sort of peers is because of, you know, not just because it's a political show, but because of how well it is like lampooning real world events. Like it's almost become like the new Simpsons, where like this show is like predicting stuff. They even had to change the name of the last episode of this show because of a, you know, certain assassination attempt that happened right around the time that the finale was coming out. So, and not to start off on too much of a negative, but I do think it sort of almost worked against it. Now, I don't have a problem with the show being political. It takes shots at the left, it takes shots at the right, it takes shots at everyone. You know, it doesn't bother me in that sense. My issue, though, is I like what you're saying. It almost goes, satire is fun when it's like, you know, perpendicular to like what's going on in society, right? But when it sort of becomes so parallel and it's so like closely mirrored, it almost
you find yourself going,
it almost becomes less effective like a satire the closer you get to actually, you know,
you either go
the thing that you're satirizing.
Wait a minute.
But so I kind of understand where some people are coming from, and they're like, oh my god, the show's gone too political, it's gone too woke. It's like, no, well, that's absolutely what the show has always been. But maybe you lose some
to something like this, though.
But maybe you lose some of like the creative sort of bite and zest when you kind of, the closer you get to it, it's like you want to ride as close as you can without actually touching. You know what I mean? I think, and this season definitely touches. There is a lot of touching, right? So, and then we don't want to go episode like blow by blow, episode by episode, because there's so much stuff in this show, so much like nuggets of goodness and badness. Don't want to upset anyone, good and bad, right? And but I tell you what, one of my unexpected favorite characters of this season, actually two of my favorite characters in the whole show now are characters that are introduced in this season, and that is Sister Sage and Firecracker are 2 absolutely stellar performances. Like, they really fit into this world. And obviously Sister Sage is introduced fairly early on. Homelander knocking on doors, he's like, I need you. I'm finally gonna like acknowledge that I don't have all the answers. I do need some help. As much as my ego is like super massive, I'm admitting now that I need help. And he brings in Sister Sage. He's like, you're the smartest person. What is it he says? You're the smartest woman in the world. She's like, no, I'm the smartest person in the world. Let's fucking get that shit right out of the gate. You know. So he brings her in to the fold. And like I say, it's almost like he's conceding like some of his power, some of his ego, and putting some of that power in somebody else's hand. But then we do see as the season goes along, he sort of almost like regrets his decision. Well, he definitely does regret the decision because he fires her because he's like, I can't. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could handle bringing in other people and admitting that they're like better and smarter than me in certain ways. But when it actually gets to the reality of the situation, it's like, nah, I can't cope with this. I'm not as emotionally mature as I thought I was. And by the way, he's not emotionally mature at all. But he thought he had grown and developed, and he hasn't. So Sister Sage is great because she not only is she a great character in her own right with some great moments that we'll probably get to in a bit, but because of the what she brings out of Homelander, who is essentially sort of the main character of the show, I would say at this point. Because even Butcher, not really, even in season 3, I think this sort of started, Butcher is sort of taken much more of a supporting role in a lot of ways. So how do you feel, McManus? Are you overall, you liking the season, you liking the new characters, and do you feel like Butcher is sort of, even though he still was like pivotal to the whole plot, but he has sort of narratively taken a bit of a step back? And yeah, what are your overall thoughts on that? Are you digging it?
Yeah, I am. I'm liking it. Like it also pisses me off in some parts. So it's one point that also impresses me. Like if I could get angry at a TV show like this, is like then it must be there's something up there. It's like I'm happy with this show because why am I invested into this guy being such a cunt? And like and Butchie, like I haven't seen the comic books. We really need to like borrow them off you or
yeah, we'll work something out, and we will absolutely talk about that in a separate episode. Maybe in the build up for season 5, that might be something that we can do. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm just drawn in, mate. Like I even like just trying to wait for an episode because they just came out in weird fucking times. Like they wouldn't put it out at a normal time. Oh, let's stick to American times. Fuck it. There you go.
Yeah, that's a problem with streaming. That is a problem. Like, because they want it to come out at midnight, but then obviously, depending on where you are, it's not midnight, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning for us.
Yeah, I'll wait a week. Go to find it because it's out on this day. Where's the fucking episode?
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I get so in my head about stuff like that when they're like, oh, well, it comes out on the 26th of July or June or whatever it is, a new episode. And it's like, but is that midnight on the 25th or is that midnight on the 26th? Like, I know how dates work. I know how the clock works. Like, I'm not stupid, but I just get so in my head thinking about it. I had the same thing when I went to see Wolverine and Deadpool for a midnight screening. I'm like, I've got to make sure I get it right because I do not want to be one of those people that turns up for the midnight screening the day after because they thought it was the following day because it's actually the 26th, not the 25th, but because it's past midnight and they think, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the dude who has to like check what bus I'm on after I get on the bus. You know what I mean? I'm always overthinking. Like, I do not want to fuck this up. I want to be punctual like we are. I want to get there on time. I want to do it right. And yeah, they need to shift up that episode release date time. Maybe they probably not gonna.
No, and don't get me fucking started on Invincible. Like that's
Oh, that's
fucking
an even crazier thing. It's like, oh well, you wait 3 years for season 2, but then you get half of season 2, and then you wait another 3 months. It's like, fuck you. You've had 3 years to do this shit. Pay your writers, pay your animators, get it out. Stop
another
dicking me around, Amazon. Jeff.
Another guy needed a swift kick in the dick. It's not even Jeff. It's gonna have to run up the lines because there's gonna be about 20 fucking people who obviously don't give a fuck but will happily take your money.
Just want to run up that line and kick them all in the dick one at a time, like A-Train.
With fucking studded toe, like still fucking toe caps, mate, because they're not gonna fucking get it. Like, stop being cunts all the fucking way. Nut shot. Right.
But bringing it back to the boys, as much as we want to rant about the state of streaming and society, we'll leave that to the boys. So,
sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. So
it's just because they're on Amazon too. So it's a
they deserve it. They're all part of the problem. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Billy Butcher would have none of this shit.
No, he'd go in and fucking murder all the executives. We're like, you're welcome, cunts.
Rip them in half. Absolutely.
Right. He is Australian, right?
He's New Zealand. He's from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
I think, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to get hate for that, whoever watches this.
Oh, don't worry. They get mistaken for each other all the time. You know what? You all look the same, white people, to other nearby country of white people. Okay? Until you start opening your mouth and jabbering on, we're like, okay, well, they're either going to talk about Lord of the Rings or they're going to talk about grilling chicken. All right? And until that point, we don't know which one you are. So we're sorry. Okay? We're trying to be inclusive. But I do think his action, and he's pretty good. Sometimes it's like a little bit overdone.
It really twangs in between New Zealand and Cockney. Because
yeah, you can tell. I mean, maybe other people from other countries can't, but yeah, you can definitely tell that he's not. It's really good. It is really good, but you can tell that it's an accent that he's doing, not that he has.
Oh, yeah, I remember, was it District 9? And my ex never hearing a South African accent before. And then asking, did it come from Australia? They're like,
yeah, I could see that being I could see that being an easy thing to confuse.
It can be easily so confused because the way he talks is like that. No, that's Afrikaans. Oh, what? It's like it's a language. For fuck's sake.
Absolutely. So I tell you what. To about people from different countries, they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on Frenchie this season. I think they do this whole subplot where it's like he's got a gay relationship. Oh my god, Frenchie was a gay. I'm pretty sure he was having threesomes with that couple in season 2, whatever it was. This dude, come
Frenchie
on,
fucks
he's bendier than a wet noodle. Don't just fucking leave him alone. Don't act so surprised, all right?
I was just about to say, if you've got a pulse, Frenchie will fuck it. And I'm like,
oh, he will absolutely fuck it.
I'm not quite sure about the pulse thing.
Might not even be necessary. One of his that reminds me, one of his best lines is in the farm episode, and they're talking about injecting the dead animal with the with the virus and letting the other animals eat it to get the virus. And he goes, who's gonna fuck it? This man's gonna fuck it. He hasn't got the energy to fuck a dead pig or whatever.
This man is no state to fuck a goat.
That's the one, yeah. Fucking, like, what a fucking, he just like, the whole plan just gone completely over. And he's supposed to be the smart one. He's the chemist. He's like, that whole fucking plan just went completely over his head. But backing it up, right, like, they set up this whole thing. He's got this dude that he's got, like, chemistry with, and then they start having a relationship, and then we find out that Frenchie, part of one of his old, black ops, nasty mission things or whatever it was he was doing, or if he was just a criminal. I can't remember the details now. It's been a while. We were a little bit late, but so he's got this whole guilt thing going on, and it's like, and I get the whole point of it was to like to get to that, to really, they really wanted to build to make the impact of the moment where with him and Kamiko finally seal the deal right at the end of the season, when they're both like, oh well, we're both so guilty and broken. But it's like, we know this. We've been with these fuckers for 3 seasons. We've seen them do all manner of nasty shit, both in their past and as part of their work with the boys. Like, we know where they're at, and I just feel like they just wanted to drag it out to get it to the end of the season, because you can't have like a big kiss moment happen in the middle of a season, especially not with these two who have been so like, you know, are they, aren't they, you know, and everyone's waiting for that moment. I just feel like we just put so much extra fat in there. Like, maybe we just didn't quite know what to do with Frenchie up until we needed him to make the help try and make the virus at the end. Up until that point, it's like, yeah, we're gonna make him. We're gonna have him banging dudes. We're gonna have him be guilty. We're gonna beat him up. Then we're gonna put him in prison. We're gonna go through all of this, and then to have it all just undone, where Butcher's just like, yeah, I got him out, like off screen. It's just like, oh yeah, I got him out of prison. He's back to help. It's like, did we need all of that?
Yeah, no, because Butcher will always have a fucking get out of jail free card because he has a fucking tongue like a lizard, and
Kiwi tongue.
Yeah, and plus he just chats so much shit.
I would have liked to have seen how that went down.
Well, it's probably somewhere, and it's probably in something like the boys. God's Part 76, when we'll get down the line to that at some point. Sorry, that's just how many things of the boys are coming out recently. So that's
I do like it. We'll talk about that in a minute, actually. Yeah, or we could do it now. It's up to you if you've got something else.
No, it's just it feels like Frenchie was used in like for filler bases.
A little bit, yeah.
The only way you could have done him justice is to let him have seen Hero-gasm. Like, I think you're.
That sucks that he missed that last season.
For them to bring it up in dialogue, 2 or 3 times, is like fucking diabolical. French is gonna fucking really cry that he missed this. And then, and then it goes to Mother's Milk, and it's like, oh, Frenchie's always wanted to come to this. So for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that
and you
sucks,
made him
man.
miss it for and I get like, and there was a fucking interview with Carl Urban. He went up to my cameraman, and at the end of the day, or after shooting Hero-gasm, and apparently the cameraman just went to him like, dude, I've seen some shit today.
No, mate, yes, they have. I mean, and Butcher is definitely seeing some shit in this season. We're definitely going to get into that. So obviously, like I said at the beginning of this, like, they separate Butcher off, which I get it, because like the plot has kind of just gone there, and that's fine. So, but also it's like the best part about Butcher is watching him interact with the other characters. Like, just that, you know, gnarly, cantankerous attitude that he's got, and, you know, that sort of wild card, you know, on again, off again leader kind of, you know, situation. It's like, is he the right person? Is he in the right frame of mind to be bringing this plan together? As much as he's sort of like so emotionally tied into it, is that, you know, a problem? And watching that sort of conflict with the other characters, we get so little of it in this season, but what we do get is introduction of another new character, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I've been super excited for the last 2 years to find out who Jeffrey Dean Morgan was going to be playing in this season. I love him. He's so good in everything. You know, just that smile, that damn beautiful smile. He's so good, right? He can be so likable, or so sleazy, you know, so warm, or so like mean and nasty. He can do everything.
Sorry, just to interject here. Like, that guy is like the perfect. Like thousands of people have said this, but he's the perfect fucking Thomas Wayne for The Killing Joke. Like, I just want that. Thousands of people want it. They need to fucking make that movie. Like, before
and one
he
of
gets too
many
old.
balls that they dropped with those DC movies is having him
Yeah.
set up to be Thomas Wayne and then not following it through with doing the alternate universe Batman and all of that kind of stuff.
And even Maggie's fucking Batflick's mum. What
she would have been perfect
shit
for
is
that
that?
Joker as well. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
That would have been, and you know that's what they were thinking when they cast them. You know, Zack Snyder was thinking, "Oh, eventually we're going to get to that, and that's going to pay off and be really cool." And obviously, we never got there.
Now you are.
Yeah, but talking about payoffs that don't really that don't pay off, like from like episode 2, I think I was calling. I don't think Jeffrey D. Morgan's really there. I think maybe this could be a whole Tyler Durden situation. And the only thing that made me question it was another plot line in this series with Huey and his mum. And I'm like, this seems really random and out of left field. And I was like, maybe Huey's mum is the Tyler Durden. Like, maybe Huey's the one having a mental breakdown, because that man is long overdue to have a mental breakdown. He's been through so much, and he goes through even more in this season. But then I'm thinking, well, we can't have two characters
he's had mini breakdowns because, you know,
a little bit, but not really in this season. And this is the season where he most deserved to have one. But obviously, I'm thinking they can't have two characters with like imaginary friend, like hallucination plot twist. Just like, it's going to be one of these. But I was definitely leaning towards Joe Kessler, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. But then I was thinking, is that what they want me to do? And they're going to curveball me in at the end and have Huey turn out to be the one who's imagining that his mum came back in his time of need with a dying Simon Pegg. But they
it's
massive letdown, man. When they did that reveal, it was so cliche. They did the whole flashback to all the times that he was talking to himself, and it was just so like Sixth Sense, Fight Club, like every, you know, ghost plot twist that they've ever done. It was just, I don't know, it just really underwhelming. And I hate the idea, because Billy Butcher goes off the deep end at the end of this season. And part of me kind of dislikes the idea that they're kind of blaming it like on a mental health tumor situation. Yeah, no worries, I can keep.
Yeah, carry on. I'm listening anyway.
it kind of bugged me that, because in the comics, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but in the comics, Butcher goes off the deep end in a kind of a different way. But it's all to do with like how he is so emotionally attached to this issue, and he isn't like thinking straight, and he has like seen some shit and been through some shit that is just like irreparably fucked him up. And it almost feels like a bit of a cop out, like, okay, well, he's going to be super mean and super like unreasonable at the end of this season, but we're kind of going to blame it on like a, you know, super powered, you know, brain parasite thing. And it's like, I would have preferred it if we kind of just went there with him, you know, sort of naturally by himself as a character. I think that would have been more kind of shocking and more kind of impactful. And to have him kind of go down that dark path that he does, sort of more of his own volition, and not like, well, his brain's being controlled by a you know, a chemical, you know, manifestation of his own sort of darkest, you know, parts of his soul or whatever. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. All right, I get it. Maybe for like a more sort of a broader show, you know, because the comics is very like not broad in some of like the themes and some of the ideas. And obviously this is playing up to more like a movie, you know, this is basing off of, you know, your sort of perception of like superhero movies, and it's kind of as weird as it is to say, The Boys TV show is sort of much more palatable in a lot of ways. So I get it, but again, I couldn't help but feel a little bit disappointed that they sort of took a bit of his autonomy away, because that, again, that's part of the key fun of the Butcher character is that like he just very much got his own ideas, his own plans, and he will kind of just go around or go through anyone and everything else to accomplish those goals, you know, and sometimes, you know, with very much lack of consideration for sort of how the consequences might affect other people, you know. So sort of to take away his urgency a little bit wasn't my favorite. And again, the reveal of that wasn't really sort of, the juice wasn't quite worth the squeeze for me in that storyline. But where we get with him at the end is still pretty fucking cool. Like, and it definitely like conjures up some images of like, holy fuck, where like he's truly set on this path now. There is absolutely no like, I mean, maybe there is, but there's probably going to be no coming back now. Like this is a one-way street that he's just jumped onto, and it's like, and sort of very much embodies like sort of the whole sort of genesis of the show, really, which is just this man on this collision course with this man, and it's like there's only one way this can end, and it's when they fucking meet in the middle at the end. You know what I mean, right? So very much on the edge of my seat, and I'm not going to start talking too much about the ending until we get the other man back on or back in. You know, he hasn't got to show his face. Sometimes he's shy. That's absolutely fine. Just checking the notes here. So that's another character I wanted to talk about, who I said two of my favourite characters are new characters introduced in this season. And as much as we're absolutely designed to hate her, as much as we're designed to hate a lot of the characters in this show, but Firecracker Man is fucking...
I'm sorry, I just had to fight with an ice bag. I'll be right back.
No worries, you sound like you were wrestling some crows as well a minute ago, but that's fine. You do what you need to do. I'm just talking about Firecracker. Incredible to watch this this actor performing.
Sorry, 1 second.
Go on.
I do believe we've got another comment just happened. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, here. All right. Before we get into Firecracker, we'll talk about this a little bit. Appreciate your comment, Cobran, or is that Cobra N? You know, whatever. Is it Cobra/N? Like whatever, right? I appreciate the input, and sometimes we need some guidance, right? So yeah, so a lot of this series, you're thinking, what is going on? Because we have that scene in episode 4 where he attacks Ezekiel in the trailer, who on paper, you know, stretchy powers get a lot of flack, right? Nobody's ever really made them cool and interesting on screen. I think it's a very hard one to do, especially on a TV budget. But it's like, no, this dude will fuck you up. This dude will strangle you. He could stick his whole arm down your neck and just do nasty things to you if he wanted to, you know? And to have that scene where it's like, okay, shit, he's really kicking off halfway through the season 4, and Butcher comes in, is like, nah, I'm gonna take this fucker out. He does the gas to freeze the arm or whatever, the liquid nitrogen situation, smashes his arm clean off. Like this is a man who knows how to deal with a soup. No matter what your power is, he's probably gonna think on the fly in like a sort of street brawl kind of style, and he's going to take him out. But then Ezekiel gets the one over on him. He blacks out, and this is sort of where the a lot of the speculation kicks in about like, what the fuck happened? Is this blackout? Is this related to the thing that's going on in his head? Has he got some kind of power? Did somebody else come in? You know, is it half of his personality? Is he conscious of these powers and we're just not seeing them? And a lot of speculation, and it was fun to think about. Yeah, good evening, happy to have you here, whatever time it is where you are, presumably not too far from where we are time wise, because it's evening. Very astute, very astute. No mind parasites here, everybody.
Sorry, no, I was just trying to reply to him saying good evening. instead of highlighting
Absolutely.
the
Oh,
mention.
happy. Oh, you got us both working your Cobra. Here we go. You're getting, you know, massaging. We're massaging you from either side. Okay. Much like a stretchy man would massage your neck from either side. Or from one side, 'cause it's technically the same arm wrapped around. Whatever. Right. So yeah, we're thinking like, what's going on? Is it gonna, because I assumed, like, I thought it was just going to be like a sort of like a Hulk situation, right? So Butcher blacks out, and then maybe like another personality powered by the tumor. From the Netherlands, happy
Hey,
times.
thanks
Hope,
for being here.
thanks for being here. Love it. So yeah, I thought it was going to be like a Hulk situation where maybe just like half of his personality was like split off and was like super strong, and then sometimes in like stress that half would take over and he would just wreck him, right? Just grab that stretchy arm off of his neck, just absolutely tear him apart with his bare hands. And as we see at the end of the season, he does like to tear you apart, but it ain't no hands, baby. It's tentacles. So McManus, was that a curveball for you? Would you think that was too much of a crazy sort of thing for Butcher? Because obviously Butcher's a very sort of man of the people. He's very like boots on the ground, dirty, gritty. Was it a surprise to you when you found out that he does in fact have big tentacle venom powers, or did it work?
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
It threw you for a loop, huh?
Yeah, it's like, the cunt just took the T virus and just went, fuck it. You know what?
Yeah, absolutely.
If
That's a Resident Evil thing. Yeah, sure.
yeah, if you can't fucking beat them, join them and then fucking kill them. And
And then, yeah.
it was total holy fuck moment. Like, I was sitting there like, he's not going to, and he just kills the bitch.
Oh, absolutely. Like, yeah, it definitely threw me off at first. I was like, I don't know if I feel like, again, this kind of crazy tentacle power doesn't quite jibe with sort of like the image that I have of Butcher. Like I say, he's a more like sort of hands-on. Oh yeah, they totally teed it up with the bunny where he sees is that like episode 5 or 6? Where he sees the rabbit and it's got the tentacles coming out and it's like, oh fuck, is that gonna be me?
I love how he just looks at it and just goes,
Yeah. Like, I totally thought the same thing, Cobra, though. It was like, okay, the bunny seems like a total like setup for that. I was like, but is that too on the nose that he's just gonna have the exact same thing? Or is the bunny tentacles more like a metaphor for the struggle within, But yeah, absolutely. It does work though. Like, again, it's not quite what I envisioned, and especially going into season 5, like, because obviously he's going to fight Homelander, and it's like, well, that's, I guess because it was I did think it was a bit lame in seasons. I didn't love season 3 where everyone was like having like laser eyes and teleporting. Like, I thought that was a bit too sort of close to just sort of being like making them a superhero team. I didn't. That's not really kind of what The Boys is about for me. Like I say, it's much more. I love it when it's like bringing that sort of street smarts and like like bare knuckle brawl, like everyday kind of attitude into the world of like big crazy Superman superpowers. Like, I much prefer that sort of contrast. Obviously, the tentacles is definitely a contrast, but it's a different kind of contrast,
I really wanted it to be like, where in Man of Steel, like, Kal-El has the fight in the diner scene, like he gets whipped into it, thrown across the street into a bank, and he's just getting his fucking ass like handed to him. It's like, well, evolution always knows. Evolution always wins, and he just, like, I wanted him to I wanted that powers for Butchers. Like, he could move like that. He's across the room. He's stronger than anyone is. She tries to fucking mind blink his brain away. Like something just happens and you just like, what was that?
So like you say, something just more sort of leans into the sort of how we sort of already see Butcher, and like, you know, crowbar in his hand, but now he's like really strong and he can, you know, hit you really fast or whatever. But then, and again, on a TV budget, it's like maybe tentacles is like a bit much. Like, you know, maybe like don't over. Not to use a pun, but don't overextend yourselves. Like if a power is not going to look great, then don't feel like you've got to go like bigger and crazier just to go bigger and crazier. I would much prefer it to be something a bit more, you know, not subtle, but, you know, something less sort of flashy and, you know, and explosive if it still has impact.
Yeah, the tentacle scene also gave me like Dirty Spawn vibes.
Oh, absolutely. Dirty Spawn, hashtag Dirty Spawn. Anyone wants to tweet at me, Dean Lee Live, hashtag Dirty Spawn. I want to see them in my mentions.
Because it's just one tent, like, he grabs everyone else who could like give him some aggro, but then he points at like makeshift weapons with the tentacles. Like, don't fucking think about it. Like,
yeah,
I will fuck you up if you stand between me killing her. Like,
yeah, no, I hope we see an evolution as well. He's probably going to do more than just like grab people and throw people by the time we get to season 5 and that big finale. I thought it was fine. Like, it wasn't. I've seen worse CGI in movies, I think. Not all movies, but some movies I've seen worse. You know, I mean, was it as good as like maybe like Venom level? But then, like, you know, that's like the main character. That's like the main thing. You know, it's Venom. Like, that you kind of got to put a lot of, you know, care. But then Venom puts everything in the dark. So, you know, I mean, it was sort of dark, but, you know, he's in like a well-lit room when he's ripping her apart at the end. Like, I thought that was a really effective moment.
Yeah,
and they don't shy away from it. Like, you know, some stuff, you know, people getting lasered and ripped in half in like broad daylight sometimes in The Boys. You know, people getting smashed up against walls. We haven't talked about Ryan yet. You know, I think, you know, there's not like tons of action. It's not like happening all the time. So I think they kind of spaced it out and sort of, you know, delegated reasonably well. It's not perfect, but then, I mean, how can it be perfect? Because your brain knows you're watching a TV show and the tentacle monsters aren't real. So you're always going to know it's fake. You know what I mean? That's sort of the rationale that I use. What's that?
I said that you fucking know of.
that we know of. You know, not to discount any identities. If you're a tentacle monster, okay, we are welcoming to tentacle monsters. In fact, if you're a tentacle monster, you've got absolutely no excuse for not leaving a comment, because you can fucking do 1 million of them. All right, so get them all up in there. But talking about powers that we don't like. Okay, when they're all writhing around her, maybe. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch it. But talking about powers that don't.
They do put a lot into their last seasons, though. But I was just going to say that when you said the CGI looked bad, I would hate to be the guy who has to get that fucking receipt at the end of like, or whatever. Like, this is the sequence. This is what we have to do. How much is it going to cost? Here you go.
Oh, what, like you're at the you're like the business liaison guy at the visual effects company, and they send before the production starts, they send you the list and the script, and they're like, okay, so this season we're gonna need mouth tentacles, we're gonna need stretchy arms, we're gonna need chest tentacles, we're gonna need exploding dicks, we're gonna need, you know, like
a giant.
We're gonna need a man who can rim himself, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you're just like, no context, because you might not even like watch this stuff or be like a genre fan, and you're just like a fucking, you're just some like,
find out.
You know, you're just some like regular like dude who just happens to work at a VFX company, like no context for any of this stuff. You're like, you want what? Damn it, man. This is just my 9 to 5. I'm trying to pay my college fucking tuition fees off here. And you've got me doing 8 faces in 8 bumholes. Like, what are we doing? Like, come
We've
on.
got to find out who approves this shit. Because if this guy is not grey, like,
why can't I be the guy who just removes the fucking cameras from the reflections in windows? Why have I got to be the butthole guy? Like, what did we draw straws that I didn't know about? You know. But anyway, I keep trying to get to talking about powers. I digress. Talking about powers that maybe don't look good, and not because of bad CGI, but because they're just a shit power. I want to talk about Firecracker because that is the worst. It's like this is like Jubilee Light. It's Jubilite, right? She can do a little. She can do a little spark. She can do a little sparkle, which he doesn't even really do. She does it like briefly, like in one scene. Like it's basically she even seems to be sort of aware that it's useless. But what her power is, McManus, is fucking hate and dissent and misinformation. You know, she's a fucking social media influencer. You know, she's like got a YouTube channel. You know. Again, this is one of those times in the show where I think that, you know, the way that it parallels like real life and real things going on. I think this is one of the better versions of that in this season, because it's like if anyone spends any amount of time on YouTube, you've seen this stuff with the crazy, like, you know, sensationalist over the top headlines and clickbait titles and like, wait, is Tom Hanks a giant lizard man? Like, no, he's probably not a giant lizard man. Like, but people, are the Jews trying to kill us with space lasers? Yeah, no, I would admit, I do think this season has been, I think it has gone lighter on sort of action in some ways. But it always has the impact, I think, for the most part when they do pull it in there. But yeah, I think this, as far as like big like set pieces, I can see your point. There's absolutely not as much of that. But again, we're very clearly leaning more into the satire. What's this,
imagine spending 3 or 4 days inside a fucking whale set.
Oh, that looked fun. Yeah, that's probably like terrifying and traumatizing, but it's probably quite fun as well.
You can go wear all this shit, get all this goop on you, sit there for 3 days, like freeze your ass off on a beach, like you're all good.
But yeah, as much as like how sort of Butcher has like Kessler to sort of highlight sort of the darker parts of his personality, I think it's really fun that Firecracker does the same thing for Starlight, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, we knew each other back in the beauty pageant days or the super pageant days or whatever they were, and it's like, yeah, now that you say it, it's like Starlight would absolutely be one of those mean girl bitches. Of course she would. And now that passed, and like, because you can say, oh well, I've been on a journey. I'm like, I care now. I'm like, considerate, and I'm trying to do better in the world. That doesn't take away the bad feelings that you gave to people, and this goes for anyone, in any line, in any kind of situation or whatever. It's like, yeah, just because like you're on this new path of healing and redemption and whatever, we haven't seen that. We haven't experienced that. All I remember, me being Firecracker, is that you was just a bitch, right? And it is not to like absolve of like blame or like responsibility, but it's like you're kind of like responsible. People like you, these negative people, these crazy, conspiracy theory, hate filled, toxic personalities. They're not just born that way, like Lady Gaga. They are made like, and a lot of the time, the people who would so-called be like, sort of like the woke left. Exactly, yeah. Nobody's good. Like the so-called like woke left is like, it creates monsters the same way that it tries to fight monsters. And you could say the same about you know, the other side or the top, the bottom, whatever, like depending on, you know, everyone's the hero of their own story, everyone's the villain of somebody else's story. And I thought it was really great that, you know, like say Firecracker, that performance, the way they used that character, the way they sort of introduced her with the convention, you know, like the conspiracy con or whatever it was. She's got like the simp helper dude, the multiple man dude who's like, you know,
Jesus.
was it a little bit unnecessary to have the rimming? I was like, sometimes the boys does kind of like, you know, just shop for shop's sake.
Yeah, no, it was gonna be there. It was gonna be there. If we had fucking hero-gasm, then we've got like, hey, can we? We're gonna put this up to 8. We're gonna put that up to 8. Okay, how can we fucking like piss him off and gross him off at the same time?
Yeah, no, I just think sometimes like
9 guys giving the same guy a rim job. How about that? Like some human centipede shit.
So much of like what's good about this show is that the subversiveness comes from like, you know, the characters and the situations. It doesn't have to always come from a place of like dicks and arses, you know, like, but then obviously because it's the boys, we sort of do expect those moments. We expect a whale scene, we expect a hero gasm, we expect the Ant-Man in the dick scene or whatever. Like, so sometimes it's like it just feels like they had to put that in there. It's like we didn't really need that to sell the character. It did give us a great fight scene though, one of the great fight scenes of the whole show, where we're just fighting loads of naked dudes with pink eye, you know, which is a fun little extra angle, I guess, that we haven't seen in anything else before.
I think it's just ironic that they use all like dicks and assholes in this. So many. It's just the whole thing of the world's full of dicks and assholes.
Right.
And,
go on.
And vaginas. Evidently.
Absolutely. Right, a couple more things I want to touch on, and then we'll start wrapping this up. We still got fucking director's cut to talk about, right?
Jesus.
But the whole Huey's dad storyline, I was like, this whole thing, I'm watching it, I'm like, this is kind of pointless. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, we'll probably see. Maybe we'll see like the first hero gasm in like the 60s or the 50s or something, like, you know, swinging 60s. They're all drinking martinis and rimming each other, having a lovely good time. But so Huey and they're like, oh well, we've got Simon Pegg. He appeared in like 2 scenes in season 1 because we can't afford Simon Pegg that much because we're spending all the budget on tentacle CGI, right?
Yeah.
So they bring him in for season 4. It's like, I knew he was coming back because he was on the like he was announced like as a returning cast member or whatever. And it's like, okay, but we're just going to put him straight away in it. He's going to have a stroke induced coma or whatever it is. It's like, so he's just now laying in a bed like unconscious for like 3 episodes. It's like, this feels like a bit of a waste. Like, I'm not sure what this is really adding to the storyline. Like, is it worth the time that we're spending? And then of course by the time we get to the end of it, it's like, okay, we are absolutely giving Simon Pegg a chance to act his fucking arse off, because that shit was soul destroying. When they throw that whole like dementia and with the phasing and like how dangerous it could be to have somebody who hasn't got all of their mind there, and they've also got this thing, and he's just running through bodies and running through people like in hospital rooms and stuff. Like, that shit was devastating.
If you're
and then they had to euthanize him.
Yeah, if you're a fan of The Flash, and you ever want speedster powers, that's nightmare fuel.
Yes.
Like,
speed powers and phasing powers are so much more dangerous than people give them credit for. And again, not just for other people, but for you as well. I mean, we see that straight away in season 1, you know, when Robin gets it. Like, we know, like, this, some of the stuff that you think is maybe not like necessarily like a physical sort of fighting, damaging, you know, power, is like, no, they all are. And it kind of it kind of sells obviously Butcher's ideology of like, yeah, even the good ones are fucking dangerous, and it's probably better if we just get these fuckers gone. I do think, much like with the Bunny and Butcher, I think this euthanization scene with Huey, I think that's going to foreshadow and pay off down the line season 5, because I don't think, it's not going to end well for like that for the Huey Butcher relationship. Like, it can't. Obviously, we know Butcher's going to go down, but he's probably going to lose control and go crazy before it gets to that point, and maybe we have to maybe Butcher becomes sort of more like the bigger threat than even Homelander is by the time we get there. So I think that's going to pay off eventually.
He kind of he kind of gave me the the Void vibes.
Yeah, a little bit, very much.
Right. I know it's different powers, but like, because it's actually coming.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of like where the psychosis meets the superhuman, and it's just like, dangerous. And like it's the same way, like like anyone could have this stuff, but everyone's going to bring their own baggage, or their own health problems, or their own issues, or like prejudices into that situation, and that's what makes it dangerous, right? It's almost like an analog for maybe like gun control in certain countries. I ain't going to touch that subject. I do not go there, okay? But it's like,
find other people.
It's like, yeah, sure. It's like, sure, you can do good with these things, but then it's like, well, with anyone can have it, and not everyone is thinking of it or going to use it the same, and it's like everyone's going to have their own stuff that comes along and their own like trials and tribulations, and so I love all that stuff, love how that all works. And again, Sister Sage, right, that stuff with the deep where she got on the bottom, like I've got a pretty high growth factor tolerance, right? When he had to lobotomize her to fuck her with some Funyuns and Transformers 2 or whatever, which was great, absolutely great. But that stuff was hard to watch.
She can't stand like the powers because she just knows everything. But having fucking what's the name? Regeneration powers. It's
they say like they specifically say her brain regenerates.
Yeah,
she doesn't regenerate, just the brain, because she wants to be able to shut that shit off and not be thinking about everything. And I'm sure a lot of us can all relate to that as well, like where sometimes you just don't want to think about the world. You don't want to think about stuff that's going in your life. You don't want to be, maybe you've got anxiety and you're always overanalyzing and questioning everything. If we could just turn that off for a little while and just chill out and get along, even if we don't, with people that we don't really like or don't really agree with or see, pun not intended, eye to eye with, wouldn't it be all nice if we could all just fuck and watch Transformers 2, smoke a blunt, eat some Funyuns, and just do anal? Like, wouldn't that be great for the whole world? And I love that stuff. And when that actor plays it later on, when it comes back, obviously they bring it back later on with the where she gets shot in the head and they're all having the serious meeting at the mansion, and she's just sitting there like a 5-year-old shoving chocolate cake into her face and just like talking nonsense. So well played, like, and just completely paid off. Like that whole, again, like they introduce an element to the show. You're not really sure what use it has in the grander scheme of things, but they 9 times out of 10 they always bring it home, like with absolute aplomb, and it's always fun and it's always funny, and it's always interesting, both in terms of like the writing and the performances, and everyone is like so well cast. Like she nails like the fact that she's able to be like super like cold and calculated and and sort of ambitious and all of that stuff, but then to also be able to play this like airhead, childlike, cake loving maniac is just perfect. Like absolutely nailed all angles of that character. And And the Deep, obviously, the Deep's on his own journey. He kind of sort of, obviously he's not been a nice character from the get-go. We've explored sort of like how he's sort of his own insecurities and his body issues and his sort of failings have sort of led into that stuff. But he's still just like the dumb, sort of like Jersey Shore type guy or whatever, right? And we've slowly built him up now in this season where it's like, no, he's having to do stuff like he had to eat a fish or whatever. Homelander made him eat the squid or whatever in the last season. Now he's had to kill his octopus girlfriend, played by Tilda Swinton, which was incredible. As soon as I heard that voice, I knew exactly who it was. You are muted. I'm assuming you know that. And now we're bringing that whole thing into like where no, the Deep is dangerous. Like he is, you might just think he's like a, dumb, sex obsessed idiot. But it's like, no, he's just as dangerous as the rest of them are. And now we're like slowly desensitizing him to the violence. And now he's actually, for the first time, taking part in the violence and sort of, I don't want to say having agency because he is still sort of like, under the thumb and trying to do what everyone else wants him to do because he's still, he's got those insecurities that we talked about. But now he's getting violent too. Him and Black Noir, who's also a character who's like not so cool with the violence and is now like getting a taste for it. They're having what do they call them, murder boners or whatever they've got going on. So even like again, it's just a case of like even the people that you feel like are like non-threatening, or like at least sort of like physically threatening, are now everyone's sort of reaching like this apex point of like where the pressure cooker is just like all sides are just like getting to the top, like, and that's can't wait to see where this goes. Obviously A-Train is gone. Like he disappears after like episode 5 or 6. He's just gone. Like obviously that's his power. He's been able to run the fuck away. So that's worked out well for him. We know that we all find out he's the leak now, or they find out that he's the leak. That Will Ferrell scene was fucking perfection. That blindside joke absolutely killed me. That was so fucking perfect. And again, another thing where the timing has just come into full effect with like, there's that whole thing with the blind side not that long ago was sort of in the news, and with that guy and how he was sort of taken advantage of. And again, another great example of like where the satire is done well, but it's not like too like on the nose straightforward. So I'm going on, man, because I figured it seemed like you was having some technical difficulties. So I've been powering through with the assumption that oh no, your mic is fucked, mate.
For fuck's sake.
So that's why, yeah, I thought it was. I'm not just like I'm not just burying you under me. Like I did sense that was not sounding good. Which is fine. I can absolutely manage. Barely, right? But what else? No, you're not good, man. What else haven't we covered? Going into this, obviously, again, everyone's getting more violent, and we see Ryan is sort of like he's getting pushed into this, but then he starts backing out of it. He's like, no, I'm the only one who's actually kind of seeing sense. Like, this is all bullshit. Live on the puppet show, he's just like calling it all out. But then with Butcher and Mallory, and they're so fucking eager, they're so desperate, and they're like, so like back to the wall. Like, we need to start solving these problems. And they're so eager to get him on side that they go too far. Because they're only human, and we're just watching like, Mallory, you're saying like, you're starting talking about like what Homelander did to his mum and stuff. It's like, you're going too far, too hard, like too fast kind of situation. And now he's just killed her, neck snapped. she gone, and she was another one of my favorite characters in the show. We hadn't seen much of her, and then as soon as we bring her in, we take her out. So he's like now like we get the comparison, right, when he accidentally kills the dude in the like the fake save rescue mission or whatever, and he's like super cut up about it, versus at the end of the season when he just snaps Mallory's neck and kind of just walks away like cold, doesn't really show any emotion. So
I hate
we're
this thing.
definitely
I really
worried.
do hate this thing.
Oh, we're
Am I back?
sounding better. Yeah,
Am I back?
I think we're back.
Hang on, let me go into the
So
settings real
so
quick.
it's like Ryan's like just over that precipice. Is it too late? Is he going to be able to get brought back? Is he going to be sort of the linchpin that sort of ties off?
No.
Is he going to be sort of like the saving grace of the whole situation come season 5? You know, obviously we set up Soldier Boy, and we're going to bring him out of stasis. He's got a lot of gripes.
With Ryan,
Go
it's
on.
like trying to fucking redeem fucking Darth Vader. And it's like he literally just threw her against the wall, and you heard that snap, and it just.
I mean, it wasn't like he intended to. Like, it was still very much just like a emotional reaction. But what was scary, like I said, is the fact that he kind of just looks at her as just like cold, and then he walks away. I think that's more dangerous than the fact that he actually killed her in the first place. So it's like, do you think, is he beyond redemption? Can we bring Ryan back, McManus? Oh, we can't even bring McManus back, let alone fucking Ryan. That's fine. Oh, go on. No, he's gone again. We can't bring McManus back. Ryan and McManus holding hands, dancing off into the sunset of murder and bad sound quality. So that's fine. Yeah. I think he's gonna come back. He's gonna turn the tide, whether or not that's sort of his own volition, or if it's just sort of again more like, you know, he's teenager, he's hormonal, man. Like he's going through puberty, and he's like having to learn this whole new world and these powers like all at the same time. It's a lot of stuff, and it would be nice to see him sort of gain some kind of like emotional, you know, grounding, and sort of figure out like I would like it to be sort of definitively he needs to pick a fucking side. Like it seems like he's gone too far now, where he's almost sort of taken the decision away from himself. But I think if he kind of come back and said, look, I know I fucked up, I killed her, it was obviously an emotional outburst, but I want to help. Like I don't want to be that version. I don't want to, you know, be in support of Homelander and all these other people who are doing that on a day-to-day basis. I'm hoping that we get like a real solid, defining, you know, stance from Ryan in season 5. What do you reckon, McManus? Are you back?
Am I back?
Yeah, he's back.
My Siri just started going mad. She just like, what did you say?
Well, does she want to come on the show?
Well, evidently so. Like, I'm trying to do something here, and it's going. But yeah, one second. I did say this, and I missed these because my computer, and it said,
oh,
I said that, and then
favorite character overall. I think of this season, I think it's Firecracker. I think the performance is so well, and as much as I think Sister Sage is like a more like showy performance because she's got these two like different sides of the character to play, I just think the little ticks and the things that's going on with Firecracker, like, and how sort of believable she's making that character feel, and sort of how it sort of relates to, like, again, you know, certain real world personalities. And you know, she's got that southern drawl, but she's not overcooking it, because sometimes it's very easy for people to really like, oh well, this character's like, you know, like a right wing, you know, crazy person. and we're just going to really amp up that, you know, we're going to give him like a thick Texan accent or whatever. He's just like such a cliche, but she doesn't do that. So of this season,
really goes for that Alex
absolutely,
Jones vibe.
yeah, but again, like she's not playing it super crazy. Like it would be so easy for her to overdo it. And I just think in terms of like again how she sort of shines that light of, you know, reflection on Starlight and everything. I just think that's like she's just absolutely been sort of the most valuable addition to this season. And even it's so satisfying when Starlight eventually like beats her down, you know, she's on fucking live TV outing her about the abortion and like just going well too
And
far,
still makes her
like,
look like a prick.
and then like and still manages to make, you know, no matter what Starlight does in that situation, she's going to come out looking bad, you know. And yeah, it's like even, you know, so watching her act and then watching her get beat down, both equally as satisfying. So of this season, favorite character, Firecracker. I think overall, not this season, because I said I think they kind of wasted him a little bit in this season. But the moments of, you know, that he did have to shine in this season was great. Is Frenchie. I think Frenchie's probably been my favorite character overall throughout the whole show. But yeah, like I said, this season they kind of danced around a little bit. It almost felt like filler. But then by the time we got to like the bulletproof chickens and the virus and the payoff with Kamiko was pretty well handled. Like it, you know, it wasn't too Ross and Rachel. It was like it felt real and satisfying. And then to obviously have them ripped away like right then as they finally sort of both found peace with themselves.
Yeah, it was such a
it
what moment.
it you feel the pain. And again, like I said
Yeah.
up top, Empire Strikes Back style ending. Starlight is obviously she's having this whole Spider-Man 2 thing throughout the whole season, but obviously with the shapeshifter situation, she has that time to sort of she gets confronted very real, you know, in a
It's
very
just
real
like,
way
how many
about her
times
own
did you
bullshit.
fucking miss? Like,
And then obviously by the end of the season, it's like, no, she's come to terms. She's worked her way through her bullshit. She's reached maximum self-awareness. She knows what she was, what she is, what she wants to be. Those powers come back in full force. She's fucking rocketing through the sky like a fucking like a shooting star, for lack of a better thing. So and she's obviously going to be sort of presumably like the driving force at least for the beginning of season 5, like because she's
yeah.
like the only one who's like out there. Well, she's out there, Butcher's out there.
I've seen
Probably
people
not good for
moan.
anyone.
I've seen
But go
people
on, McMahon, is
like,
your favourites?
oh, it's got to be Starlight. Firecracker needs to be like put a head through like a TV, like Scream style. Like,
Love to hate.
oh yeah, totally. Um, Starlight pissing off the way she did, like while Huey is just being kidnapped, is it's totally understandable. Like, do you flee to fight another day or get fucking atomized? Like, meh,
Yeah,
I choose life. I love
absolutely.
I love Butcher, like, and then seeing parts of what he says in the comics is far fucking worse
Oh
than what he
yeah,
says
no,
in
we're
the
going to talk about
show.
that definitely
But
over time.
yeah,
Do you feel like we've had enough, Butcher? Do you feel like I said at the beginning, do you feel like he very much takes a back seat for a lot of this season, and obviously comes back right at the end, like in full improved force? But
yeah,
do you feel the show's gotten a little bit too far away from him, or are you still getting enough of your Butcher fix? We're not getting a McManus fix now. It's all right. Um, Another aspect I wanted to touch on for this season, I've kind of hinted at this. Huey, man, he goes through so much shit. He's been through nothing but shit all through all these seasons. He's not accustomed to this shit. He's not a fucking ex-CIA Black Ops dude, you know, he's not got like a shady past, like just a very normal real dude who's had a lot of crazy shit, been through a lot of crazy stuff. And in this season, he gets more piled on and he doesn't really react that much. Like he gets like chased through the air vents, like sweating. Homelander's gonna murder him. His dad dies. Then he gets sexually assaulted twice. He has to infiltrate the fucking party, which is a terrible decision. Like, why this dude is not fucking equipped to do this. He's like, and now he's in a mansion full of dangerous soups. Not only that, but now he's in a sex dungeon, and it's like, I didn't love how they played it off for jokes. Like, that was very much like a very intense, like, sexual assault situation.
That
like,
was so fucking cringe. It was unbelievable.
And don't get me wrong, I love a naughty joke. I love a bit of fucking BDSM, whatever, right?
You have a sense of humour and a conscience.
You know, I've got a fucked up sense of humour, but I couldn't quite get fully on board with like, yeah, we're just gonna like. I genuinely felt like the distress, and I guess that was probably the point of it. That when he's tied down, oh, by the way, tickle my feet, you're gonna lose your head. Anyone out there, you are done. I lose control like Ryan at that point. You are getting fucking kicked at the wall, broken neck. You're done, mate. I would be, but again, to bring like back to like the point, I was so feeling the distress of that situation. Like it was funny for a little bit with the cake and the fart on the cake, but then when we just kept amping it up, it just felt like it was too much. And again, after the scene happens, he's just fine. He doesn't really reference like any of it. And then in the next episode or an episode later, he gets fucking basically, you know, raped by a shapeshifter. And instead of like Starlight asking if he's all right, she's just like getting on his shit, like, you fucking cheater, like, you fucked her 20 times, like, you're such a piece of shit. It's like, she wasn't just a shape, she fucking gets the memories. She absorbs the person, like, she's, like, so, like, can replicate anyone down to the fucking memories, the emotions. Like, it's not just like she wore a suit and tricked him and he should have known better. Like, that was some serious shit. And we just fucking victim blamed him.
Yeah.
And he didn't really, the only thing he gets at the end of it is like when she finally says like, okay, we are going to be okay. He's just like, yes, like a fucking bro. I was just like, I don't know. The emotional stakes with Huey, I feel like have gone. He's not the emotional core of this show anymore for me, which is a shame because obviously that's how we started it. And it doesn't feel like I can relate to him anymore. And I think a lot of it is to do with the writing.
What's the name of the actor's name?
Jack Quaid.
That's it. Because he's a Quaid. Have you seen there's I don't know if it's an advert or a skit where it's just got like this. I think it's boy and girlfriend, and they buy like both of them a Jack Quaid.
Yes, like, I've had that video in my feed like 4 times in the last 2 days. It's funny.
We both got a Jack Quaid. Let's make him fuck.
What? Yeah, it is funny. And he's a good actor. I just feel like they should have given him a couple. He deserved a couple of moments to really, you know, explore like more the ramifications of some of the stuff that he's been going through. And you know, we could have had
the script.
We could have had more of that than we could have had, you know, and less of like beating around the bush with Frenchie and Kamiko. Because even with Kamiko, who I love, they do a whole bit at the beginning of like I want to get to that in a second. She's reconciling like sort of her past, and she has that one confrontation with another girl who was sort of in the same concentration camp or the same program that she was. But we kind of dropped that plot fairly early on, And then again, it's just for the payoff at the end with her and Frenchie, but it doesn't really do anything throughout the middle of the season. It feels like a little bit of like dead air for that storyline. You know, it's very intense at the beginning, very intense at the end, not a lot in the middle. And maybe we could have like used some of that extra time, bit more of the Huey stuff. I would have liked. I cannot wait. I was so fucking when as soon as the finale finished, I'm like, wait, but what about Ashley? I was like, fuck, we didn't go back to her. We just leave her fucking transforming, head all bubbling, wig falls off, like crouching and crawling all over the floor like some Jekyll and Hyde shit. Because obviously she's like, right, they're going to kill me. What can I do? I'm just going to run and get some. Oh, by the way, stupidest fucking thing in this whole season is that Homelander's room is completely unguarded, and Ashley and A-Train both just go in and out of his room taking dumps and stealing shit, and he doesn't know, but he can smell Huey in the fucking air vents from his sweat. He knows it's Huey, but he can't tell that people have been shitting in his room and stealing his compound V. Like, so I hated that. But obviously we needed to set that up for this end. She's like, fuck, they're going to kill me. Survival instinct. I better just take some V and hope for the best. So McManus, I'll give you it first. Do you have any thoughts what Ashley's going to be? What kind of Ashley are we getting next season? We're not finding out. No, we're not getting you again. So while you work with that, so I would say like it seems too obvious, right, that she's just going to be like, because I was thinking like she's always powerless, she's always under emotional stress, all this pressure. Is she just going to be the boy's answer to the Hulk? Is she just going to turn into a big raging monster that's going to at some point in season 5 run in and just yes, that's great. And at some point in season 5, she's just going to run in, big raging monster, and just fuck everything up and completely turn the tide of whatever's going on. Do you think that's too easy, or have you got another idea?
Well, like me, you know me and source material. I'd do anything if someone would just fucking write it and like for screen, like for what it is to what the actual person is, but do it in live action properly. Not put your twinge on it, not make your little adjustments. Fucking do it. If it's a crucial character, use that crucial character. If they're a person you can fuck with that has not like is a character like a main character, keep them as a fucking main character. If it's someone you can fuck with, by all means, fuck with them, make them better.
Yeah. Yeah, and she doesn't exist in the comics, by the way, so there's not really any precedent set for like where they're gonna go. So they could literally, I mean, obviously we see a bubbling head, and she's obviously in a lot of pain, going under a transformation. So the sort of it's open road, right? They could literally do anything with her at this point. Like, so she could be a big monster. Or some people are speculating because of the whole hair thing.
Smoke monster or something like that. Yeah.
A smoke monster. Some people are speculating that she's going to be like a Medusa because of the hair situation. Like, is she going to have like Medusa powers, snake hair, stony eyes? Is she going to maybe, we haven't really got any like ugly, monster characters. Every superhero show usually has them, right? Like a character that's like very obviously isn't like a regular human. You've got your Beast or your Nightcrawler or that lizard lady in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. Like everything normally has one. So I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of physical deformity aspect to it.
But it just shows you like the boys really do. They've kind of shown you all like the pervert versions of what a soup can be. Like there's I don't think we've come across like everyone's come across all nice and bubbly until you find out what they really are. It's like, Oh, they're secretly a
Yeah.
fucking psychopath. Okay.
Yeah. And obviously she shows some like real psychopathic tendencies, you know, throughout this season. Like when when she thinks Homelander's gonna make the deep blow A Train, her eyes light up like I've never seen anyone's eyes light up. She looks so fucking ready for like some depraved, like she's had to deal with these people's shit so much, and like when she thinks she's about to see them get like sexually abused, she's all fucking excited about it. And then obviously later on we find out that she's in a fucking bondage queen in the fucking dungeon, and she's tickling Huey's feet and rubbing her fucking, you know, her clam juice all over his fucking face or whatever it is. Like, so she's nasty. She's been shaped like by the stress, and this world that she's living in, like, it's warped her beyond recognition. And I think we're going to see that manifest in a physical way.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just not sure exactly how.
If you work for the thought industries and work with them certain people and live in constant fear of being flicked up against the wall and turned into jam, yeah, she's got my sympathy, because fuck that. Like, what kind of mad bitch goes for that job? Like, you're going to be working with superheroes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's great. They're never going to harm me. Like, what?
I'll tell you one last negative. I'll tell you one thing that didn't work for me, and then we'll start wrapping up and rating. You know what really bummed me out was the web weaver character. I just thought that was so lame. Of like, oh, he shoots juice out of his butt, and then when he gets nervous, he just keeps, like, that joke just kept going on. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought it was like, the boys is cleverer than that. He didn't just have to keep shitting himself over and over again and just being a wimp. Like, I thought that was really... And the whole bit of, like, they didn't recognise that it wasn't Web Weaver, even though Huey clearly doesn't have a fucking web hole in his butt, and there's a hole in the costume where the web hole is, like, and nobody... Like, that whole thing was a bit lame. It was, however, really satisfying when Homelander ripped him in half. That was brutal. Oh, we didn't even talk about fucking Homelander going back to the fucking lab, and fucking the intensity and just knowing that he was going to turn on each and every one of them in brutal.
I knew every single one of them were dead. Like,
yeah, of course you do. The second he walks in, you know it. They know it.
I'm fucking Cody Rhodes, like,
coming with the chocolate cake, yeah. As soon as he walks in, you know they're dead.
Fucking dead in the worst.
They know it's not going to end
and
well.
He turns the guy's fucking spine and dick into a fucking tube, literally,
mate. And the thing is, when he's forcing that dude in the oven and he's making that dude fucking jerk off in front of everyone, right? You're watching it and you're like, they deserve this. Like, I'm almost on point. Like, I'm almost on his fucking side at this point. It's like, he's a deranged lunatic.
All he wanted was to be treated like a human. He was a child, mate.
But then you see their point of like, well, yeah, but we physically couldn't treat you like a human because you're this fucking dangerous baby. Like, you're a fucking bomb.
You broke out the fetus with red lasers. Like,
even if we wanted to treat you like a fucking, with love and affection, we can't, because then we have to lock you in this thing because you're gonna fuck everyone. Admittedly, we didn't have to fucking do all the emotional, like, manipulation, experiments and torture, but to a certain degree you can see both of their perspectives to a certain level.
What kind of child is that, when, like, the child isn't even born and it just goes and then starts flying about and then kills all the fucking surgeons that are in the room?
Yeah.
Like,
and to Cobra's point just now, yes, she did want to quit, yes, she did want to get out, but does that absolve her from being compliant in all the fucking nasty, murderous, you know, amoral cover-up shit that she's been a part of for the last, like, 4 seasons? Does quitting all of a sudden be like, okay, no, she deserves to fucking join the boys and fight the good fight and ride off into the nah, she's going to be a nasty fucking monster lady, and it's going to be fucking gross. I guarantee it. And she pretty much deserves it for the most part. Not as much as pretty much everyone else at Vought, but she deserved to be on that list. Absolutely. But overall, there was a couple of episodes in the middle, like episodes like 5 and 6, I thought weren't great. I thought episode 4, which is the one where Starlight fights Firecracker and Homelander goes home to the lab. That episode might be one of the best episodes of the whole show, period. Overall, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 pink eyes. So, any final thoughts, McManus, before we move on?
We're on the same page there, buddy. No,
4 out of 5 pink eyes, yeah.
It's going to have fucking people bitching about it. It did. I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
it's supposed to. It's supposed to be aggravating and abrasive, you know, to a certain extent.
If it wasn't, then it wouldn't be The Boys, would it?
Yeah.
If it didn't boil your blood, then it didn't do its fucking job.
Yeah, and then, like I say, I think the things that drag it down a couple of times, it's not quite as subtle or clever with the satire, and you know, a couple of the things seemed unnecessary, either for like filler, or it just felt like they were just throwing in like an effect or a gross sex thing, just because that's what people expect the show to be. But it didn't ruin it overall. I think it was clever and fun and funny much more often than it wasn't. So I think a 4 out of 5 is absolutely fair, and I can't wait. It's going to 2 fucking years for a season, Amazon. Sort it out. It's not good enough.
I did tell you, right?
Not good enough. I know we're getting Gen V next year.
These companies do not have the budget to film back-to-back sequences. Get fucked.
Yeah, but you know, maybe stop paying the fucking executives fucking six-figure salaries to fucking do not a lot, and maybe concentrate on actually making better shit, or you know, more well organized, you know, economically viable shit. You know,
and I'll say
speaking of which, you did say at the beginning,
Jeff, fuck your £2.
Yeah, come on, Jeff.
Commercials.
Sort it out, mate. It's not good enough, is it?
Mate. We pay enough for fucking Prime.
But to your point earlier on, we're getting The Boys is kind of running the risk of turning into the exact thing that it's making fun of, because we've got Gen V spin-off, we've had the animated show, we're getting a prequel show and a Mexico spin-off. So it's like, is that going to be all too much? And are they just going to keep, like, they're going to run out of gross body things that they can do? You know, I'm going to watch them all. I'm going to watch them all, but I am worried that it is kind of becoming the thing that it's going to parody. Like I said, Cobra, I'm interested for the Vought prequel. I really liked Ayakash as Stormfront. I thought that was one of the best characters the show's had. Arguably the best villain that the show's had so far, other than Homelander, of course.
Bitch, mate.
I'm not in love with Jensen Ackles and Soldier Boy like a lot of people are, but I see the potential. I see the potential for a prequel in the 50s, like the man said, Hero-gasm in the 50s. You know, seeing some of that other stuff and all, you know, and all the satire and the references to like old history and, you know, like sort of that classic Americana, you know, post-war, you know, hopeful America. I think that there's a potential for a lot of fun in there. The Mexico spin-off could be fun, you know, if it kind of got like a Sicario but superhero vibe to it, like cartel and, you know, and crazy like drug and murder, you know, kind of antics going on. It could be fun, but I'm more worried. All the spin-offs sound great. I really like Gen V as well. I thought Gen V was much better than I thought it was going to be, and I think all the spin-offs sound great. I'm just worried that maybe we're getting too many kind of all coming down the pipeline at once, but I'm hopeful, and I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see. Anything else, McManus, on the boys? I'm going to take that as a no. Moving on then. So that's the boys, and keeping it R-rated, keeping it sexy, keeping it nasty, keeping it violent. It's none other than Zack Snyder. We're back with not one director's cut, but two director's cuts back to back, released on the same fucking day. 6.5 hours of a movie that we didn't really like that much in Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2. I think we both agreed, or all three of us, I think George was on as well. We all agreed that Part 1 was better than Part 2, but it really kind of lost its way and was just kind of ended up being like a whole big ball of nothing. Really good looking nothing for the most part, you know, but just sort of all over the place. Too much exposition, too many flashbacks, you know, not as much action. Not that it has to be all action, but, you know, a lot of farming and, you know, sort of tropes and sort of underdeveloped ideas. But there was some good stuff in there. We hope you liked it, because now you're getting twice as much of it. R-rated this time, baby. The original vision, even though it's not the original vision, because if it's the original vision, you would have fucking put this out as the original version. It's on Netflix. It's not like a theatrical thing where you've got to worry about the rating and how much money it's going to make in the box office and stuff. It should have just released this version. I'm going to say this up top as my overall thoughts. I don't have loads to say about this, because obviously we did review both parts when they came out, and spoiler alert, these aren't really that different for the most part. I think part 1 starts out with like a whole extra scene, more stuff with what's his name, Admiral Noble, you know, and sort of this whole religious, it sort of adds this more like religious crusade, because he's like ripping out the teeth, and, you know, and we're sort of seeing much more of like, you know, the violence and the extreme like gore and the swearing and stuff in the first half. It does I do think it genuinely does add more to it, because I think it heightens the stakes of, like I say, sort of like the religious sort of crazy zealotness of the villains, and it sort of ups the stakes of, you know, for the heroes, because you're like, fuck man, these people are getting like their heads bashed in. All they want to do is like eat grain and fuck, and, you know, be passionate and love each other and be connected to the land. Like it all. So I'm watching it, and part 1, and I'm like, yeah, okay, the violence, it did increase all of those things in a positive way. Obviously, the action was much cleaner, much more satisfying, not just because it's blood and stuff, but I think because
it was filthy.
Because clearly it was like chopped to bits in the edit for the other version, right? So not only are you're not getting the blood, you're not getting the hits and the connecting, you know, blows and stuff, but just the flow of the cinematography and the editing and how it all sort of played visually was just literally sort of cut short in the other version. So I think it all, you know, letting it breathe, letting it bleed, and letting it all play out as originally intended, I do think worked in its favor. And I did have a much better time watching part 1 for all of that stuff, you know. And then part 2 happens, and part 2 is basically the same movie for 90% of it, until we get to the end where there's the action stuff, and literally it's the same action scene, but you're just seeing bodies exploding every time they get shot with lasers. Which, look, if this would have just been the first version that they released, and they literally just like, this is Star Wars with sex and violence. It sounds like a bit too fucking immature and edgelordy on paper, but in reality, that's pretty cool. We, you know, I could do with a bit more sex and violence in my sci-fi. Like, let's bring that in there. Let's not be too scared, because again, we've got to fucking hit a certain quota and we've got to make a certain amount of money back. So we've got to neuter it and have it a bit you know, like a lot of the new Star Wars stuff is, not to get into that. Not saying that sex and violence cures everything, but if you've only got like an average script, it certainly doesn't hurt. So, but yes, part 2 was basically the same movie. I do think part 1 was enhanced a little bit, but the manners, what are you thinking?
Fuck yeah, mate. Fuck yeah. Like, I said this in, I think it's the first time we covered this, like the theatrical versions. I said, like, it just doesn't seem there for a Snyder movie. There's no one's head's being shattered. No one's losing a head. Where's the fucking blood? Where's the plasma burns? Where's all the shit hitting the floor? Like, what's going on? And wonder why it's getting fucking bad reviews. And then they were like the director cut coming through. Oh, is it? I'm pretty sure they would have liked that. Like, but no, not for the fucking theaters, not for the cinema. Hell no. There is no fucking way that those cuts are getting through the fucking commission, and you know for a certain standard fucking scenes that it's not getting through the commission. Like,
Yeah,
when you see the Admiral on his ship, and they got a certain type of fucking, like, in that type of century, and like, that's understandable. Yeah, no one wants to see that, especially on a 70-foot screen.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think they made a big deal out of, oh, we're going to be fucking aliens in this movie. That was the only sort of sex scene that didn't really add anything to the movie. It was just interesting, like, okay, I guess, because in a sci-fi universe, there's different species running around. Like, do they all have sex? Can they all have sex? It was interesting in a sort of, Mallrats, does the Thing have an orange dick kind of way.
Yes, he does.
But yes, he does. Is it hard? That's another question for another day, because I've got thoughts on that. Right.
He's Ben Grimm. He's made out of rock. That is a rock penis. You know it is.
Absolutely. But when it's flaccid, is it still hard? Is my point. Or is it just down and hard and up and hard, or does it actually go and is it like squidgy? Anyway, it's another. I said it.
Man wears giant pants.
He wears giant pants for a reason. He's got to hold that fucking thing down. Absolutely.
He's a shower, not a grower, because it's the same
These
thing.
These are the questions, my man. This is what I'm saying, right? But so yeah, it was interesting in like a fun sort of, immature kind of curiosity way, but it didn't really add anything. I thought the other sex scenes with Sova Butella, like, and they are long and intense, and they don't do that thing where like you pick very careful camera angles. Like, they are leaning back, everything is like there. I mean, all but bush. Like, you've got like, there's a lot of flesh. And again, I do think it adds to the story, because you see like the sort of passion that these villagers and like this community, like you just feel like the love and like sort of, the salt of the earth, like, pleasures and, their connection to each other and to their land and to their work. And I think it all kind of, it does kind of speak more to that kind of stuff. And it raises the stakes. Like, this is what they're fighting for. It sounds cliche, but like, they're fighting for love. They're fighting for passion. Like, they're fighting for grain, a lot of grain, so much grain. Another thing that I thought worked in favor, and this isn't not really a plus really for the movie or movies, but I think what did work in its favor for me was actually watching them both. Like, I watched one night and then I watched one the second night, but watching them sort of both close together, I think sort of did make it feel more cohesive. You know, like I think just sort of having all the stuff from the first one like more in your mind, and it does play just like a. This is like a
Oh,
TV show that you would binge.
I think he's out. So it's just a minute ago.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. It was great talking to you about The Boys. Despite what we say here, check out Rebel Moon. It's an experience. I'll say that much.
I did comment. It's ridiculous. You should give it a try. Thanks for joining in.
Absolutely wicked, yeah. So I do think this. If you would have done this as like a limited series, and it was just like 10 episodes of a TV show, but it was exactly the same, but you just cut it up that way, I think it would have worked 100 times better. Even like what Zack Snyder did with the Justice League director's cut, you know, where it had the chapters.
Oh God.
I think that would have worked better for this, because we get to that scene with the flashbacks, and this is all stuff that's in the other version, but they literally sit around the table and they all give their backstories. It's like 5 backstory montages in a row. You could have just split that up. That could have been 5 different episodes mixed in with the 5 episodes that are like what's going on now. And you could have, you know, jumbled it up, and it would have played really well as a series.
Do you know, I really didn't think of it like that. I really should have. Like, that would have worked so well. Even like in the space of like, look, here's one series, 10 episodes, and you're gonna get the next series in 4 months. Like, well, that's not so bad, is it?
Literally, I do think like you could have had pretty much like the exact same script, the same everything you shot exactly as it is, but I think editing it into like a TV show and juggling some of the chronology and having some stuff happen earlier and some stuff being later. And again, I'm like no editor or anything, but I just feel like there's a way that this could have been, and it still wouldn't have been like Emmy winning, but I think it would have been far more satisfying. And again, it's just when the action hits hard, but when the fucking farming hits and it really fucking slows down, you feel that just as hard as well. I put in my notes. In my notes, I wrote this joke with manners. I called it farm rated, not R rated. So there you go.
Yeah, when it hit to the farming, I wanted my son to grab me by my ankles and then pull me across the ground, face first.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay. It's just like the boring parts on Tatooine of Star Wars.
Yeah, and yeah, some of the scenes are definitely made better, but a lot of it is just sort of the same. And it's not as different as I would have liked it to have been. Obviously, I knew it was just a director's cut, but I just figured with the reaction to the other version, he maybe could have taken the opportunity to like mix it up a little bit and juggle some of the footage around. You know, didn't have to make any new footage, but you could have mixed it up and done something to keep it more engaging, all like consistently throughout, and not just have all your fucking farming in one big like hour chunk, all your fucking backstory in one big hour chunk, and then all your action in one big hour chunk. You know,
all they could have done,
toss it up like a salad.
No, all they could have done is fucking 20 minutes farming. That's it. Get the fucking gist.
Yeah, we didn't need
great.
Really any farming.
They need this. No, don't go back to fucking farming. Don't go back to fucking sowing fields. We do not give a fuck about farming. Like,
again, it all adds colour, like, and I like seeing the culture, and I like seeing like, you know, feeling like just living in the world and seeing exactly what it is they're like fighting for. Yeah, but it's just the balance was just like, it was just too, it wasn't balanced. There was no balance, you know. It was just so fucking front and back loaded, and it just really fucking, again, dips in the middle.
I think it's just, to me, like, when I expect a Snyder movie, like, it's a spectacle. I like just staring at it. Not that this fucking movie gives you enough time to stare at it.
And it all looks great. It all looks really good, but it just doesn't do enough.
it's like it's like a cheese grater going over your leg, like this, like having a snail walk up your leg, but it's got a cheese grater with it. It's like,
I will say this though, and this might be unpopular for you, McManus, and maybe a lot of other people, but this film shows you how action should be fucking shot. It is fucking epic. It's fucking framed perfectly. It's fucking impactful. And another movie recently that we watched last week maybe could have taken some hints. I would take the action in this movie over Deadpool and Wolverine or a Marvel movie any day. I just wish they could have put more of that fun and creativity from those movies into this script.
Another
and
comment.
Into like it's understandable. If you already watched the other ones, you're not going to feel like you want to watch these. We didn't, and we liked Zack Snyder, and we knew we was doing this, and I did not feel like I wanted to watch these movies again. But the action is so much better, and it does in small ways. Having the extended, more crazy action does sort of lift up other parts of the story, but it's not going to change the story. It's still the same, and it still has the same weak points.
We were both like when we found out the director's cut of this was coming out, we were both like, do we have to?
But before the original came out, I was super excited for all of it.
Yeah,
and even after part one, I said I was really excited for the director's cut. But then after part two, I was not excited for the director's cut for part one or for part two. But we did it anyway. Part two is still. I mean, again, it's a little bit better, but part two is still weaker in terms of how it's structured and the story and everything. But that last the final action battle it's like a whole movie's worth of like final act. You know what I mean? It's like a good hour and a half at least of the final action sequence of the battle in space, on the ship, on the ground. It's a whole movie of that. But unfortunately, there is a whole movie of farming in the middle there as well.
I've got to agree with this guy.
I did not like it. I was disappointed with Army of the Dead. I thought there was a couple of cool things about it.
It felt like it was set up to fail. I loved The Watchmen. I've got it on Blu-ray. Like I watch it every year without fucking fail. Even if I have a shitty day, I've got to put The Watchmen on because it's
that's a great The director's cut is definitively a better movie of Watchmen, and I think he's Batman v Superman. The director's cut is definitively better. Every director's cut that he has done has been better than the theatrical version. But unfortunately, in this one, it's just not enough.
No, it's
to raise it up enough.
I had no idea with when I got my Blu-ray because obviously I wasn't paying attention. I opened my Blu-ray and this is like theatrical version, director's cut. Get the fuck out of here, theatrical version.
Yeah, just open it straight out of the plastic and just swing.
Be gone. It's
absolutely.
It's like Whedon's Justice League is just like be gone. Like out of my window you shall be.
And don't get me wrong, Batman v Superman and Justice League, even his versions, they're still not amazing, but they are definitely better. But they are still what they are. If you don't
get fucked. I love watching Batfleck for a box at someone. That is well deserved on so many levels.
All right, I'll say this. I think if you didn't like Justice League, you might still like Justice League directors or the Zack Snyder cut. But if you don't like Batman v Superman, you're still not going to like the Batman v Superman director's cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, and this one, unfortunately, even though it is better, it's more in the realm of Batman v Superman, where if you didn't like the theatrical or the original version, you're probably not going to like the director's cut. It's not enough of a step. I think overall the experience, if I would have just watched these, if I'd never saw the other ones and I just watched these and these were the only version, I do think I would give it a higher score.
Yeah.
So I will give it a higher score. If
I have no idea what my last score was.
I think I went 3.5 for part 1 and then 2.5 or maybe even 2 for part 2. So I would say for this, I'm going to rate both of them together as one thing because that's how I watched it pretty much.
Yeah, 6 fucking hours and plus.
I would go 3.5 overall. So I think if I was rating them separately, I think I would raise up the second one by a bit, just because the overall experience, a point, yeah, just because the overall experience with the extra little bits that was there, and again, just the whole thing of watching them sort of as one big epic thing that could have been structured a bit better and differently. But yeah, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. What do you call it? Like severed giant spider legs. 3.5 spider legs.
Hang on. Douglas Fryer just recently just commented again. But thing is, do I want to waste 6.5 hours on it?
That's the gamble. That is the gamble. And again, if you didn't like the other ones, then I would lean into saying no. But if you have the 6, if you've got the 6.5 hours, like if you haven't got the 6.5 hours, don't move your schedule around, right? But maybe if you're sick, or I mean, I hope nothing ever happens to you, like nothing bad, all the good stuff.
I got wood
obviously
here.
If you've got time and you've got like a lull and not a lot on your watch list, and you know you want to fill some space,
you want to see some crazy shit,
give it a shot.
You didn't see the first one.
Yeah, and again, like a lot of the stuff in the first one, like is like up top, and then a lot of the stuff that's different in the second part is sort of more the back end. So maybe watch like the opening 30 minutes, and then see if you feel like it's worth you wanting to carry on, and then you can just it's Netflix. There's a beauty. You can just turn it off. You don't need to.
Let me just say,
you can just leave.
It doesn't rely on this, and I am not that guy. But I've just got to point out that I said this in my my group chat with these guys, is within the first 3 minutes, there's boobs twice, and
yes.
and then within 2 minutes, there's like, yep, this is a Zack Snyder movie. Okay, where's this going?
Yeah,
and that is exactly what you're gonna fucking think.
And you might think that it's like over the top and exploitative, or you know, I know a lot of people these days aren't a big fan of like sex scenes in movies. This is some really well shot sex, guys. It is every frame of it is passionate, it's charged, and it's beautiful. You could pull it as a Renaissance painting. You know what I mean? Like it is great. I mean, not because like I'm just want to sit there. If I want to watch sex, like there's other places on the internet that I can actually go and watch sex. You know what I mean? So I'm not just like some pervy dude in a basement or whatever. Right? Yeah. But it is really well shot, and I do think it adds, for the most part, all the extra sex and the violence does add to the story. But there's not any extra, meat.
I'm pretty sure,
bones,
I'm pretty sure there's more people out there who are going, well, why didn't you fucking start it like that?
Honestly, it was such a stupid decision. This should have been the version. These versions should have been the only versions, and I don't think it would have won any awards. I think 70% of people would have, like me, given it an extra point than what they did. Even if you only gave it a 1.5 or a 1, I think if this was the first version you saw, you would have given it a 2.
It gave me
might not mean much, but I went from a 2 to a 3, which would be fresh. You know what I mean? So
I never noticed with the Zack Snyder movies, like, because 300 and good lord, I swear by that fucking movie. Like,
I haven't watched it in a while. Pretty good. Sexy movie. Different way though.
Fuck
Depends what
it.
you like.
Like, I never paid attention to the slow motion parts because the slow motion parts in that movie were fucking awesome. And
You
now,
just tune out and just like,
yeah, you're
yeah,
just watching. And in this
just
movie,
soaking it up like man sweat.
in these movies, like the fucking director's cut, when the slow motion parts hit, it's just like, come on, hurry up,
Yeah.
hurry up.
Oh yeah, there's a couple that are a bit too slow motion. But again, I think all the action is superb. You can't deny that he shoots at his action. Yeah, I mean, I like the Snyder Cut a lot more than I like Justice League. I do think the extra stuff at the end that he shot and added on with Martian Manhunter or whatever.
Hey, what do you think?
It was cool, but it was completely stupid and unnecessary and didn't need to be in there. But
Well, the whole thing was called Unite the Seven, and then they cut out part of the seven. And then like,
yeah,
Zack Snyder
Unite
was
the
like,
Seven now starring Six. Unfortunately, again, a million missed opportunities with the DC stuff, and we're never going to get it now, so that's fine, I guess. But yeah, if you've got the time, definitely check this out. Even if, like I say, if you check a little bit out, and if you feel like there's enough extra nuggets in there for you to want to keep watching, then keep watching, and if not, don't. But if you don't have the time and you really didn't like the other ones, then you're probably not going to feel like you spent your time particularly well by watching these again, you know. So it is what it is, and we are what we are and who we are, and we have been Pop Rose Podcast. Thank you very much. Loving having people in the chat. That's always, honestly, it was just one of you, two of you, three if you count George, but he's not really a person. And you know, it's so great. It honestly, it means the world to us, you know, because honestly, we couldn't do it without you. Because if you weren't here, and you wouldn't know what it was like because you weren't here, but we just sit there, slack jawed, like we're watching Zack Snyder slow mo. Okay, we thrive. We thrive off the I mean, honestly, look, if you watch Rebel Moon and think of it like this is like a 60s movie, you know, it's kind of like clunky, old fashioned dialogue and exposition. It's like, if you think of it like it is a 60s movie, but with modern special effects, that's kind of how I enjoy it, which is kind of how I enjoy the prequels as well. The prequels very much play like old, like bad swashbuckling movies, but
Oh my
with
god, that makes so
lightsabers.
much fucking sense.
It does, right? Honestly,
Yeah.
if you kind of, I mean, and you shouldn't have to recontextualize a whole movie just to fucking enjoy it. The director should present it in a way that makes you enjoy it. But anyway, yeah, it is a 60s movie. It's the Seven Samurai with a nice glossy heavy metal overlay. All right, and some people that's enough, some people that's not. And for me, this director's cut just about got me over the line. It's like, yeah, this is fun. I wouldn't say I'll never watch them again. Maybe at some point, you know, this would be fun to put on, like if you had a party and people are maybe on substances and stuff, like, and you put this on in the background and maybe like pick your own soundtrack and put some like heavy metal music on it or something. You know, maybe this could be the Dark Side of the Moon and the Wizard of Oz for the next generation. You know what I mean? Who knows? Anyway, appreciate having people here. We appreciate your comments and your input. We appreciate the Scar Giver and Titus. Yeah, there's some weird choices. Not everything adds up, you know, as consistently as you'd want it to. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of it is very much like that. But again, you know, like if you think of it like how you would watch like an old 50s or 60s, you know, sci-fi or monster movie or something like that, and appreciate it in that way, and just have
Oh,
fun with it. Don't
can
take
we
it
just
seriously, and you'll be all right.
can we just give a shout out to Robin Hood Man in Tights playing the Emperor who got
Robin Hood
murdered?
Men in Tights, still the best Robin Hood movie that's ever been made, in my opinion.
Get
Sorry, Kevin
get
Costner, you're not that
get
good.
fucked, Dean. Get fucked.
He's not. Alan Rickman is good. Kevin Costner is not good. And the song is now in my head. So thank you, everyone. Everything we do it for you. Okay, and we'll see. We don't know what we're covering next week. I don't think. But
House of the
I think
Dragon.
George will be on, and we'll be doing something. Oh, Alien! I think Alien is next week. Alien Romulus.
Yes.
That is out on the
We gotta go watch that in
16th. We are
cinema.
all
Yeah.
very excited to watch Alien Romulus in the theaters. We're all going to be damn sure to be here to talk about it. We hope other people are too. And click like, click subscribe, share.
Please
Love.
subscribe, share,
Peace.
all the rest. Thank you.
See everyone next time.
Peace.
Bye.